But I think the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody's checking it out.
With the rockets or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Yo ho, yo ho. Welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. Sound check 1, 2. Is everything okay out there? Looks like we're good. Sometimes you have gremlins in the system right when you press go. Doesn't seem to be the case tonight. So we'll just pretend like everything's fine. Everything's all fine here. We're all fine. How are you? All right. This is the show where we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. And we do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. And we go for a couple, 3 hours. And it depends on the interest. And we're doing our thing. Talking about all that stuff. All the things we're not allowed to talk about, which, of course, is aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. And we're live. We do this show live to include you because, again, really, I always say this. I don't really have any inside information. I don't really know anybody that has amazing insight that can tell me the secrets of the universe. I do not have a Galactic Federation ambassador of such. However, what I do have, what this show does have, Troubled Minds, is you. It basically, this is what this whole show has always been about. It's about getting together and sharing ideas and talking about things that may or may not be possible. And that's what's on deck tonight, as usual. And so the thing is this, right? It seems simple that you pick up the phone, you have a conversation, you talk to people. Well, it's not so simple anymore because everything has been censored. The quote unquote wiretaps are happening, and all the rest of these things. Right? There's no privacy anymore, at least digitally, and so the censorship is creeping in very much like October and the autumn and Halloween and the rest of this, and the veil becomes thin. Right? That's what's going on, and so point being with all of that is that if you have just a direct contact, direct one-to-one, like you pick up the phone, you dial, you speak your thoughts. Lots of people get to hear you, and there's a lot of that is no longer allowed. And like I said, I always say this, and this is a long-winded way of saying we have an open line, which I'll get to in just a sec, several open lines even, is that you can't even say anything anymore and pass it through the media without it being highly twisted somehow, either chopped out of context, or just turn on the news and you see these jerks are doing it to each other all the time. Somebody says, however, I think that in spite of all these other things that are also issues, this is our biggest problem, right? And then so they'll say a thing, and then they cut out all the things they said previously, and then they say, that person just said, this is our biggest problem. Yeah, they're off the rails. They're out of control, right? And it's just out of context. It's, and a conversation isn't a, 8-second soundbite. That's not a conversation. I'm sorry. But that's the way the media runs, okay? Twist everything out of context, leave out important details, disclaimers, and all the rest of it. And of course, what they want to do is make you and me look like fools. Make it look like we don't know what the hell we're talking about. And that's as detractors may be. But so all of that said, the secret weapon of this show is you. And we have an open line for that, and we have an open Discord for that, and we're taking your phone calls as always. So if you want to be part of the show tonight, give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord at troubledminds.org. The Discord is a chat client. It's a voice client. It is completely free. So if you don't like that 702 area code for the phone number, there's another way to reach us internationally, and it's absolutely free. So as long as you have an internet connection, Discord works perfectly. It's chat. You can just type to people, or you can jump in voice and say hello and be on the show that way as well. So please join the Discord. Go to troubledminds.org and click the Discord link. It's right on top. And I think, what did I miss? Let's see. Check this, check that. We are streaming on Rockfin, DLive, Twitter, and YouTube, and we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And so we're also looking at the chat room over in Discord. Discord's one program, 2 different chat rooms. If you want to join the Fringe Discord, please do. Lots of smart folks over there as well. Go to fringe.fm/chat, and we'll get you. Well, there you go. Yeah, exactly. What's up, Rivers? Rivers says, am I part of the secret weapon team? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're out there listening, when we do this live, you are absolutely part of the secret weapon team, because that's what we do. Yeah, again, you get together and you talk about things, and it doesn't seem so much that you're the enemy of the state, does it? If you just want to get together and talk, it doesn't seem like it's a very bad proposition, does it? Well, but then, of course, you have people that don't like, the technocrats that don't like the things we say. They don't like the things we think, and that's the war. The war is on, right? And it's a war of information. Interestingly, like Alex Jones has been saying for years, he's got a show called InfoWars. Back when it came out, I laughed. I'm like, come on, really? It's not like that. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. It's been like that now for quite a long time, and he was ahead of the game there. So, once again, not an endorsement of Alex Jones per se. I think he's an entertaining fellow, but he says a lot of dumb things. But don't we all? We're all human, of course. But okay, so as we kind of whittle this down and get to what's on my mind tonight, it's this weirdness with Halloween on the way, okay? And like I always say, when everybody zigs, we zag, okay? And that's part of what's going on tonight. And I'll tell you why we're going to do this. We're a little bit early. We're jumping the gun because it is not quite October yet. It's September 30th where I'm here broadcasting, and on the West Coast. And so as a result of that, we're early, but early's okay. And I want to point this out. This is pretty funny. This is an actual meme that inspired this conversation tonight regarding ghosts. Okay. Now I'm going to put this meme because it's too funny not to. And I'll tell you why that we're doing this tonight, because of this right here. Let's put it right on the screen and you guys can see it on the streams here. And this is tweeted by an individual named Dropped Mike. This is from Twitter, and he's at REBRAFSIM. I don't know how to say that, but here we go. I thought this was pretty funny, so we're going to just start with this. If you carve a pumpkin in September, it's called premature jack-o'-lantern. I won't be taking questions. And there you go. There it is. There's the thing that inspired this. I was like, hell yeah. If people can be carving pumpkins in September, at the end of September, then damn it, we could talk about ghosts and ghost stories. And so we're going to be doing that. That's what we're doing tonight. As my detractors would say, as the Troubled Minds detractors and haters would say, we're telling ghost stories on the internet. And that's what we're doing tonight. So why not? We're a day early, but who the hell cares? We make our own rules, don't we? Like I said, nobody tells us what to think and when to say it. We do it whenever the hell we damn well please. Okay, so like I said, that's what inspired the conversation tonight. I thought, why not? Let's not stick by the calendar and play by everybody else's rules. Let's play by our rules. And also, of course, premature jack-o'-lantern. There you go. You got it. Daryl loves it. I knew Daryl would love that one. Okay, so there's a bunch of articles, actually, of course, as you know, once the season turns, people start to really kind of catch up to the season, as it were, and start telling these ghost stories and start considering, that it's just around the corner. We're going to have ghost stories happening hot and heavy for the month of October as everybody gets into the mood. And I just stepped outside before the show as the sun was going down here in Vegas. And, Vegas is a little bit warmer than everybody else. But I have to say, there's a little bit of the cool air coming down. I could feel it on the tops of my ears. It's the cool air is finally coming down and we're cooling off. It's a gorgeous time to be in Vegas, by the way. Probably around March-ish is really, really nice. And right around October is perfect in Vegas. It's warm in the daytime. You get that crisp at night. It's just absolutely beautiful. Let's go to this. Now, this is an article that, again, so I started clearly once the season rolls around, like I said, and everybody's jumping on the ghost story bandwagon, there's tons of articles, and there are tons of articles where they're talking about ghosts and ghost stories and, different areas that are haunted and all the rest of this. What's up? Matt says, Halloween is a lifestyle. There you go. There you go. There it is. A lifestyle of, what is it? I forgot the joke already. Anyway. All right, so let's go to, this is housebeautiful.com. And now I thought this was pretty interesting for a number of reasons, but let's read the headline and get into this. Here's why ghost stories are so important, according to a professor of anthropology. And unpacking this official yet ubiquitous part of our culture, okay, which is cool. I like this. I like that it's not just scary stories to tell in the dark as that goes. It's different than that. It's about storytelling. It's about belief. It's about seeing things. It's about knowing things. It's about all this, right? And so this article kind of goes through and does some really good stuff here. Let's start here. This is from a Talk Thompson, a PhD, renowned folklorist, author, and professor of anthropology at the University of Southern California, said this: "Science doesn't tell you to believe in ghosts, and most organized religions really don't tell you to believe in ghosts. And yet, people believe in ghosts. This is folklore at its finest. Ghosts have an interesting role in that they are a really well-believed and well-discussed, but completely unofficial part of our culture." And that notion right there to me is kind of kicking this off. Like I said, inspired me to think about this maybe in general terms. Yep. No, what's up, Mr. Joe Roop? Yep, working solid and no problems. Purring like a kitten. We're on fringe, and everything's working well. Thanks for helping out with that last night. But yeah, so regarding folklore, okay, and so again, there's a lot of reasons why people believe in ghosts. So before we get going tonight, questions as always. This is the question show. This is not the answer show. So first off, why do you think? Okay, there's a kind of a two-tier question here to start. Do you believe in ghosts? All right. And if you don't, why do you think people do? Okay, so there you go. It's as simple as that. Do you believe in ghosts? If so, why? And if you don't, why do you think other people do believe in ghosts? It's a simple thing. And so what we're doing tonight is very much like the old school days with the great Art Bell. We are taking your ghost stories. If you guys have actually maybe seen apparitions or ghosts, or maybe you're actually predisposed to seeing spirits as the trope goes, right? The old ghost story trope of, I see dead people. There are folks out there that claim they do, and that spirits visit them on the regular. And as part of that, there seems seems to be a certain connection with certain people. And what exactly does that mean? And that's part of the rest of the questions I have tonight as we start, just to begin. And that's what's on my mind. Why do you believe in ghosts? And if not, why do you think other people do? And then, as they say, I see dead people, and that whole horror movie trope, how come some people may or may not? I think that's the weird thing. And we're also taking your ghost stories tonight. If you guys want to be part of the show, you know what to do. You can give us a call at 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. And we're doing a Troubled Minds Ghostathon, as it were. And I don't know. We'll come up with a better name for that as we go. But there's Halloween comes, and it starts to get a little bit cool outside, and the sun sets just a smidge early, and it's hard to not get into that frame of mind, right? So here we go. So science, here we go. Professor Thompson aptly points out that beliefs are contextual. And within the topic of the paranormal, this means that what we experience as true and real is dependent on a whole host of variables. These variables can be as fleeting as one's immediate environment. For example, quote, "If I asked my students in a classroom under neon lights how people believe in ghosts, very few people will raise their hands," Professor Thompson explains. "But if we're all sitting together in some kind of mausoleum with Gothic architecture in the moonlight and a wolf starts howling in the middle of Los Angeles, where that usually doesn't happen, then more people will raise their hands. So it can be very mood-based." And of course, right, this is a anthropologist that's discussing this, and as you would expect, an academic is probably not going to openly admit in an article here like this that they believe in ghosts. So it's okay. It's kind of exploring why people do, or kind of attributing it to moods, or maybe context. Okay, maybe the environment you're in, or who knows, a host of other things. Maybe they people they really trust see ghosts, and quote, see ghosts, and are told ghost stories as they grow up. I don't know. There's a lot of this. There's a lot to this. But so that's what's on my mind tonight. We're taking your ghost stories if you have them, if you guys have ever seen ghosts at all, or if you think it's a bunch of BS, that's okay too. Because like I said, this is not the Church of Troubled Minds. This is not trying to tell you this or make you believe that. We're just having a conversation here, kind of discussing whether this stuff is real, or do you believe that science has it right, and we're probably mostly in some capacity fooling ourselves. And that's what's on my mind. So you guys tell me. I have no idea, because I don't see ghosts, by the way. I don't see them. And so there are people in my family that say they do. And so, right, there's people you trust, people you love, people that say, hey, the ghost spirits visit me. They visit me. They just come to me. And I've never experienced it. So again, right, does that mean I think that people in my family are insane? Well, maybe, but maybe for different reasons. Just because, well, your family, you love them, and you like to pick on them, and that's that. But there's also, these other types of stories that go back, hundreds or even thousands of years. And so it's not a new phenomenon here, this ghost story type stuff. It goes back to, Pliny the Elder, writing ghost stories and about rattling chains and the rest of this stuff way, way, way back, like 2,000 years ago type stuff, and probably before that. It's just hunting down the ghost stories, of course, at some point becomes a lesson in folklore, a lesson in that mythology, as the oral tradition, that sort of thing. So I don't know. For me personally, I'm going to tell you, I don't see ghosts. I haven't seen a ghost as far as I'm aware. Sometimes I will see something out of the corner of my eye, and I'll do that look thing. But I don't know. I don't. There's never I see something and then I snap my head and then I'm like, I knew it. It's a ghost with rattling chains running down the hallway. I've never seen that. But there are people who have. And so, like I said, it's not up to me to be that arbiter of truth in that regard, but I do think it's up to me to maybe ask the question and get some good reasons on why people believe this stuff, and maybe they've seen them themselves. And that's what's on my mind tonight. As the veil thins, as the air becomes cool and the sun sets just a little bit sooner, that's what's on my mind tonight. That's what I'm thinking about. And like I said, we're a little bit early because it really isn't October yet, but I'm sure you guys will forgive me, right? Yeah. All right, let's go a little bit more into this. Okay, and he continues. This is from housebeautiful.com, talking about why ghost stories are so important, and from a professor of anthropology. So he continues. And like moods that come and go, belief can be seasonal. Unsurprisingly, interest in ghost stories peaks in October. Weird, no? According to Google Trends, search queries for keywords like ghost stories and real haunted houses increased by over 400% in the weeks leading up to Halloween. Conversely, while the entertainment factor is certainly a big driver around spooky season, the question, are ghosts real, has a pretty consistently high search volume throughout the year. So that's what we're talking about tonight. That actual Google search term of, are ghosts real? And what are your experiences with it? Have you seen them? Do you have a ghost story to tell? And I know we have lots of this. I know Joe out there in Florida, he's our Troubled Minds funeral director. And he's told us some ghost stories before, working out there and out on the front lines, as it were. So I know I see him out there in the chat. So not to put him on the spot, but we definitely have some folks that can tell us some ghost stories because they've experienced these things, different things, right? And that's what I mean. That's what's on my mind tonight. And I don't really know. I don't have an answer here. I'm going to be open-minded about this, and skeptical at the same time. And I think that maybe we can catch ourselves in between. I think maybe we can fool ourselves sometimes, but I also maybe there's more than that. And that's the whole point here is like I always say, like we always say on this show, drinking the maybe juice and talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. Is this stuff even possible? And that's what's going on tonight. So let's read just a little bit more of this. And we got tons of stuff. I got some peppering of some ghost stories we can talk about here or there. But it's always more interesting to hear from you guys. So let's do some break down the questions once again. So one more time. This is what is on my mind, and let's kick the conversation off with this. Do you believe in ghosts? And if you don't, why do you think other people do? And if you do believe in ghosts, of course, why is it? Have you seen them? Do you know people that have seen them? Do you just have a particular feeling that there's something greater than humans and lucky mud, and maybe the spirit or the soul moves on? All the rest of this, like I said, it's more of a basic type question, but I think it's a good way to get the conversation going with stories and with folks that say, well, when I was 10 years old, I started seeing this. Just for example, okay? And so that's really what's on my mind tonight as we continue trucking. And we'll get into some of the stuff. Like I said, we got Pliny the Elder. We've got, go back to old ghost stories from thousands of years ago. And, like I said, it's been so ubiquitous in just humanity since pretty much the dawn of humanity. Ghost stories go back to Mesopotamia, right? The Fertile Crescent and that whole bit. Like before they could even write, they were telling ghost stories through that oral tradition. So that's the weirdness of this. Is that it's not something that's new. It's not a Hollywood generated thing. It's just something that people believe is real, and people have believed it's real for a very, very, very long time. So there's a lot of theories here, which we can get to some of that stuff as we go. As you know, these conversations are open-ended. These conversations go where you want them to go, okay? And so if you want to talk about maybe what's up, Matt says, energy never dies, it is transformed. There we go. There's a good idea to kick this off of, why ghosts may or may not be real. And so that's what's up. That's what's on my mind tonight, and we're just hanging out doing our thing. So looking to hear from you, and do you have a ghost story for us? I think that's the weirdness, right? Again, remember the old days with Coast to Coast when Art Bell would do Ghost to Ghost on Halloween, if you recall that, and people would call in with ghost stories. We are jumping the gun. We're like an entire month early, but I think why not? If you guys got some stories to tell, we've got a whole month to tell them, and more than that, because you know us. When everybody zigs, we zag. So there's that. But anyway, as it continues, that's what's on my mind. One more time, if you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show, and we'd love to hear your ghost stories tonight. Do you believe ghosts are real? And if so, why? And if you don't, why do you think other people believe them? That's where we're going to start, and we'll go wherever you guys want to take this. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to keep on trucking, talking about ghosts tonight, because why the hell not? And this is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More ghosts and you after the break. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, DLive, YouTube, and Twitter, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. We're taking your phone calls tonight as we talk about ghosts, as we get into the month of October, and as they say, the veil thins. Do you think this is real? Do you think there's something to this? And if you believe in ghosts, why? And if you don't, why do you think people do? That's where we're going to start this tonight. And if you have ghost stories to tell us, we'd love to hear from you tonight. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. James of Salcedo Paranormal said he's going to hop on in a little bit and we'll talk ghosts, which is fantastic. And this is why we do the show, to include all the ideas out there. Just want to point out that Hope Pisa in the actual Fringe Discord said this, and I read it during the break. I want to make sure we got this on the air so she hears it and everybody else hears this. Says, I think ghosts are pieces of the soul or dark energies created from trauma that come off and remain on the earth plane. I don't think ghosts are whole souls that are earthbound. Just my thinking, listening to Troubled Minds. Love that you're listening to the show. Love that you're actively participating in the ideas, and I love the idea. There you go. So if you guys want to be part of this, we're discussing, right, again, there's lots of articles. All you have to do is go scan Google for ghost stories, and like it said, the ghost searches spike about 400% when it hits right around October, which, of course, in some jurisdictions, it is October, because you dirty time travelers, you're already there. Well, not us. On the West Coast, we're still stuck at September 30th. Looking forward to what the ghost stories in October bring for us tomorrow. Also, I want to say on the air, we had a good friend of Troubled Minds. She actually called into the show last night, Vicky. We just got word from her sister that she had a horrific fall last night and is in the hospital. So if you guys would please send some good wishes and some prayers to our good friend Vicky for quick healing and we hope to have you back in the show here soon, and back with your family, and back to a place where everything is good for you. Terrible tragedies happen, and if we can send good vibes, prayers, energy, frequency, whatever it is you guys believe in, I would appreciate that quite a lot. So thank you, Adonna, for pointing that out. That's her sister, Adonna. Swift recovery. Thank you, Lily. Okay, so let's continue here. We have some ghost stories. We're talking about, again, sort of a kind of a free-for-all. If you guys have ghost stories, do you believe in ghosts, the rest of this, we've got this anthropologist that is telling us, well, ghost stories are contextual, and meaning that you may believe them if there's a full moon and it's a little bit foggy and it's, the wolf howls outside, but when you have, the neon lights on in a classroom, nobody's going to admit to believing in ghosts. Do you think it's as simple as that, or do you think that's an academic point of view, which is fine? That's okay. There's nothing wrong with academics. Some of the time. All right. So as we go, 702-957-1037. Like I said, we've got a friend of the show who's been calling in for a very long time. His name is Joe in Florida, and he's actually a funeral director, and he's got some ghost stories to tell. And as I said, didn't want to twist his arm and make him call in, but let's go to Joe. Joe in Florida, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you tonight?
I'm all right. How you guys doing? How's everybody doing?
Doing okay, man. It's everything's good on this end, and hope the same is for you.
Not bad. Just cleaning up. I have to go back into work tomorrow morning, so I figured let me call now because I got to get up early, and I've got some what they call ID views, or as we call them in the industry, peep and weep. Not to be callous, but it's basically when, before we do a cremation, a family could come and just say a last goodbye, because they don't want to have a service do the whole thing. So they just come in, the body's minimally prepared, and we do that. We've been doing a lot of those lately because budget constraints and that certain flu that's flying around. But as far as ghost stories are concerned, I had a big change, and I noticed that the funeral home that I was working at did have a lot of things occurring. One of those stories, if I have time, I'll go through quickly, but I changed locations, and I'm at a different location now, and the difference is that location I'm at is the central prep facility. So it's open 24 hours. We have a cooler, that can probably carry over 100 or 100, a little bit more than 100 bodies. The reason why I say that is energy. I think all of us agree, ghosts or not ghosts, whatever, but there's residual energy, whatever you want to refer to that as. And I noticed that weird occurrences that happened in my previous funeral home didn't occur at the one that I'm at now. And maybe Celestial Paranormal could put a spin on it, but basically what I equate it to is energy. The funeral home that I was at, my boss was pretty calm. I was able to be calm. It was just a funeral home. It wasn't disturbed by people coming in and out all night. A lot more employees. The one funeral home that I was at had 4 or 5 employees. The place that I'm at now, you have 25, 30 employees because they're working around the clock. And I noticed that I haven't really had, aside from lights flickering, which, if it happens once or twice, you could write that off. But nothing really that was out of the ordinary that I noticed at the other funeral home. That would get into the story of, I think, which I said before, probably a year or two ago, but for any new listeners, the biggest story I had was about profound love, is the way I saw it. And anyway, this gentleman's name, his last name was Black Bear, and he was Native American. The guy had a surgery years earlier, and his wife at the time, they were dating. And anyway, he went in for the surgery, and he ended up in a coma. And he never came out of the surgery. So this woman, basically, she visited him 2 or 3 times a day for years. It had to be 2 years, 3 years at least. And eventually the guy passed away. And she came to me for a cremation that she paid for. Now, keep in mind, he was Native American, and a lot of Native American beliefs were to do burial. This gentleman had 3 sisters that lived out west, and you kind of have to get their signatures, even though the woman that was his girlfriend, says that she was his wife, was spiritually married. That's what she called it. We were spiritually married. They were not legally married. So, at least in Florida and in most states, you need a next of kin to sign off on a cremation. Legal next of kin. So really it defaulted to his sisters that argued with me. So while this was going on, his body was literally in limbo. She would come into the office. There would be lights flickering. I would fight with the sisters because they didn't have the money. And literally the Bureau of Native American Affairs called me one day. And I had to tell the guy, look, unless you got $6,000 to ship and do this, I have a woman that paid for a cremation. And he backed off. So then one day, I come into the office, and my office manager tells me, she's like, after you left last night, the light on the, it was like a cabinet that we have, a credenza. She goes, the light on the credenza kept turning on. She goes, I don't believe in that stuff. She said, but we had a bunch of weird things, going on. So I go into that room, and sure as heck, this little pin spot that we use for items had turned on. And when I look, there was a book on the ground, and there was a book with an eagle on it, and the book was upside down, which was strange because I'm like, I put this book up. It could have been a false memory. But your hair stood on end, basically, when you did that. And then we kept seeing coincidences. They weren't really ghost stories, but my daughter comes home with the book. She's like, I got these books in the library. I got you a book. And I open up the book, and it's about a Native American, and Black Bear is right in the book. And then I drive into work, and I see a license plate, BL, it was like BLK, BER.
Wow.
Eventually, we got the guy cremated. Yeah, so it was just a bunch of coincidences. Eventually, I got the guy cremated, and just like that, everything stopped.
Everything stopped.
And that was it.
Flickering lights, the credenza, the
My
whole thing,
thoughts,
everything stopped.
That's it. That's it. Everything stopped. But my thoughts on that, in hindsight, if this guy was in a coma for that long, but he had somebody visiting him, in other words, maybe visiting him enough to keep him on this side of the veil, whatever that veil is, okay? Maybe he realized enough that when he was reaching his end, that he was able to reach out back to the living to say, look, she loved me, I love her, we need to do what she wants. And not what my three sisters want, who had nothing to do with me while I was in a coma, but all of a sudden, because of Native American rituals, they want to ship my body out there. You know, that's the hindsight. I wonder, you know, we would never get an answer from that because the guy died, obviously. But if he was slipping in and out in this vegetative state, and there was somebody there every day to pull him back a little bit, maybe he was spiritual and maybe he was able to learn enough that he was able to go to the other side with this thought of, I want to reach out, I want to reach out, I want to reach out for as long as I can before I fade away, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, I think so. I think, given that you're still there, but incapacitated, but still the light of life is inside of you, I think that it makes sense that with whatever will you have left, you might try to reach out to try and connect, to try and, maybe send messages to people that may need those messages. That's an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that. Let me ask you this regarding the funeral homes. You said that you did move. You used to work in a smaller facility, and now you work in more of a more chaotic, more energy type, larger facility. So were you saying that more things are happening now that you've moved to this larger crematory?
Believe it or not, less things. I mean, it's within the company. They needed me to move for a support role just because I'm good at what I do, but I'm good at what I do, but I don't get along with anybody that I work with. So basically I'm locked up in my own office, which is literally a room full of empty caskets. So it's perfect. Like my office is empty caskets. I have a desk and I have a casket, room, but very little has happened. And, it could be me. It could be that I notice less things because we have been busier for some odd reason. Florida has been really busy, and I'm lucky to get a day off. So it could be a combination of a few things. It could be that I'm not noticing things, and it just could be the energy because people are in and out of there so much. I mean, and I'm talking, bodies coming in all hours of the night. You would think you might, because a lot of I'm seeing a lot of tragic stuff right now. 31, 41-year-olds, 32-year-olds. I'm just seeing a lot of, crazy stuff. But, in the real world, I'm seeing that. I'm not seeing anything that hints at, hey, boo-hoo, I'm here. I'm not really seeing that, I don't know how much time you got. I got one last story, then I have a bunch of stories, but
sure.
I have one good story from my sister-in-law, and I talked about it, and it was all coincidence, which was strange, but my sister-in-law died a week before Thanksgiving last year. And I come home, I had to go to the house, I saw the body, life, we're all distraught, whatever, everybody tries to go to bed. I'm looking for a little bit of normalcy. I turned your show on, and you were talking about the ghost trains in Hawaii. So that was like creep out factor one, because she lived in Hawaii and she had always loved Hawaii and wanted to get back to Hawaii. So you were talking about those, it was like the Hawaiian thing, whatever. So the next day, wife gets up, we're all up here talking, and I mentioned your show to my wife, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I remember that." She goes, "Because when we were in Hawaii, we took a tour for that, and it had to do with like digging in the mountains and putting a road and whatever." So, bunch of little things. I do a movie, we do a slideshow, and I put a background for Hawaii in the slideshow. I purposely did that. So we're doing a memorial service. I literally did my own sister-in-law's funeral, and we're sitting in the office, not in the office, we're sitting in the room, in the reception room, in the chapel, basically. So we're there, and the movie, the DVD's playing in the background, and we're kind of closing up. So we take a death call from, that's what happens, they're like, "Hey, Joe, come to the office," and we're taking a death call. And the death call was a body that was being shipped in from Hawaii. And out of the 6 years that I'd done it, I had never had a body shipped in from Hawaii. And really 16 years I've been doing this total. But so I come back and I tell my wife, I'm like, "That's a little creepy," and we're talking about it, and the freaking lights in the chapel flicker on and off, and she looks at me, and she's not much of a believer in that stuff, and I look at her, and she's like, "I think it's time to go," and we packed it up and we left. But the Hawaii,
sometimes you just know it's time to go.
But here's the thing: the Hawaii hints kept on dropping. She had a good friend that went to, fortune teller, whatever you want to believe, and the woman was bringing up Hawaii. So, God bless, I've got our ashes here in the house, but we can't get our butts to Hawaii because of the current situation.
Oh, that's a shame.
If we go to Hawaii, we want to be, if flight restrictions change in a minute, we don't want to be stuck there, But just a lot of things, man, that make you go, okay. I hearken back to watching the movie The Matrix, and you think of those virus twins, they were like ghosts. Just all depends on what you believe. Energy, whether we're here for math, whether we're really here or not, whether it's a hologram, who the hell knows? It's fun. I don't always sleep over it. But those are the most recent ones.
Great stuff. We're some synchronicities there. We got some Hawaii stuff happening. I've only talked one time about Hawaii in terms of this whole show ever in 3+ years now, and it was that one night we were doing the Hawaiian Night Marchers, is what they're called. And so you happen to catch it right as all this Hawaii synchronicity stuff started happening. As crazy stuff, man. Weird how the world works. If you got a theory regarding ghosts and the rest of this, you have an idea whether this is supernatural stuff or a coincidence, we're fooling ourselves? Do you think there's something to this?
No, I think we can map what we can map on this side. So unless we're poltergeisting ourselves from our mind, I know you can wish things and you can manifest things, but I also believe that there's such profound feelings. One has to be love, and one has to be anger or torment. That's why we stick around. The ones that maybe are tormented keep repeating. We keep repeating like a shadow. Those sad moments that are so imprinted in the base reality that we keep seeing it. I think the ones from love, I think these messages and things like that we get, I tend to believe it. I tend to believe, I think there's something there, and we're able to reach out to it. There's so much. I'm going to let other people go, and I'm sure you get a commercial, and everybody's tired of hearing my voice. But
You're good, Joe.
Anybody that's got a story out there, I hope everybody who listens could experience that just once in their lives and not write it off. Because even if you don't believe in God, you got to believe in something.
Yeah.
And that gives me belief. And I tell that to families. I have families that come in and he wasn't very religious. He wasn't very this. He wasn't very that. But then they see things, and I'm like, well, that's your signal that, they're just right there. And I've seen enough death in my family and with what I'm doing that, we're here for a small amount of time. And maybe it's a write-off. Maybe it's a way to tell people, look, they died. We're going to see them again. We're going to be there pretty soon. We're going to be there soon enough. Don't rush it. I think that everybody that's on the other side just wants us to live our best lives and not worry about them too much. They're okay. We're here living this experience, till we're with them again. And that's, that could sound cheesy and hokey, but you got to have faith in something. You got to get up the next day and it's life.
Amen, brother. Amen, brother. I'm with you there. God bless you. As always, like I said, you and the family, sorry for your loss. And like we always said, as you've called in several times before on this show, dozens and dozens of times, Joe here's an old friend of the show. He's been listening for years and calling for years. And I always say that there's people out there doing some amazing work and being in these professions that people don't even consider and think of. And being a funeral director, crematory, working in this capacity, I like to call that the invisible process. I've said that several times to Joe. So thanks for being a part of that front line, man. Somebody's got to do it, and it's not the most pleasant thing.
Can I make one plug?
Sure. You got it, buddy. You got it.
Your listeners.
You got it.
If you don't have any idea what you want to do, at least have a will and make sure that your ex-wife isn't the beneficiary on your insurance policy.
There you go.
Unless you really need her to do that. Because I've seen some crazy stuff. And right now, I look at people and I go, I'm a funeral director. Damn it, Jim. I'm a funeral director, not a family counselor for all your stuff that's gone on for 20 years. I'll leave you with that.
Amen. Thanks, Joe. God bless you and the fam. Thanks for calling.
Good night.
Appreciate it. There you go. Ask and you shall receive. Prompted Joe to call in, and like I said, there's some crazy professions out there that again people don't consider, and these things have to happen, right? People have to be buried. People have to be cremated. It's interesting knowing Joe here, and through the years he's been able to tell us some pretty amazing stories, not just with ghost stories that he just told us a couple right there, but he's got lots of ghost stories because if you work around death all the time, you have this maybe you're close to that. Maybe you're close to these people reaching out as the energy transitions or whatever it happens to be, whatever you guys believe that is. That's what we're doing tonight. We're talking about ghosts. We're talking about ghost stories. We're talking about do you believe that they exist? And if so, what are they? And if you don't, why do you think people believe in ghosts? And that's what's on my mind tonight. I think that it's a good time. We are a little premature because we're a day to October itself. But I think, like I said, nobody tells us when to do things. Nobody tells us what to think. We're going to do what we want on our own schedule, and that's that. And that's the way Troubled Minds rolls. So I thought we'd beat October to the punch and maybe lay this out for some of our new audience. We've got tons of new people finding us every day, so thank you guys for sharing and all the rest of that. Thanks to the old folks and the new folks and everybody else who's here enjoying the conversation. Looking for your ghost story tonight. What do you think? Do ghosts actually exist? Do you have a ghost story to tell us? If you don't and you don't believe, well, why do you think people believe in ghosts? And why do you think these stories go back thousands or even tens of thousands of years? That's the question. That's what's on my mind tonight, and looking to hear from you. Appreciate that call. Joe in Florida, our resident funeral director, as I like to call him. Hopefully we don't meet him soon, and that's a morbid joke I like to tell when we talk to Joe. You guys are the best. Thanks for hanging out. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We're taking your phone calls. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds, ghosts, and you after the break. We are talking about the alien abduction phenomenon.
The aliens are looking through your eyes and they're accessing your optic nerve. I'm doing fantastic. Through that optic nerve, they're transferring to your brain. People are random images as they traverse neurons in your brain.
So all right, so maybe
and they also feel them clenching.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
All right, good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and this is the show where we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what they are? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. We are streaming live on DLive, Rockfin, Twitter, and YouTube. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM, and we're taking your phone calls as we talk about ghosts tonight. We're a day early for October, but like I always say, nobody tells us when to do things. Nobody tells us what to think. We march to our own drummer here on Troubled Minds, and we're taking your phone calls. If you want to be part of the show, the question for the evening is this. Do you believe ghosts exist? If you don't, why do you think other people believe it? And if you have theories on what these ghosts or entities or spirits may be, that's how to kick us off tonight, and that's what we've been talking about. A great call to start us last hour from Joe in Florida, and we're going to keep talking about this. The question is, I don't know. You know, if you ask me, people like to ask my opinion on these things. I don't know. I haven't seen a ghost personally, and but I do have family members that say they have. And so, like I said, short of just writing off the entire family as nutters, I don't think that's very fair. I think it's possible to consider that I may be wrong, or I may be maybe obtuse. Maybe I may not be able to see these things because for some reason maybe I've shut it off. Maybe I'm not capable. I don't know. I think that's the thing, right? Is part as we have this conversation. There's a lot to this, and what it really means for folklore, for mythology, and again for us personally as people, as spirits of light, as we've been known, and all the rest of this. So you tell me if you want to be part of the show. One more time, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, and we'll put you on the show. Just like this fine fellow, his name is Matt in California. Welcome, Matt, to the show. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Hey, okay, man. You know, doing our thing. How about you?
Yep,
I'm sure you got some stuff to. Thank you. What are your thoughts on the ghost, my man?
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so my personal opinion, I believe that they say the sixth sense. I believe we're all born with the sixth sense, and they say if you're closer to the spirit world as a kid, the life and death are like thresholds to the spirit world. So if you're closer, that's why kids see ghosts. And also there's stories about old people on their deathbed, or if you have a near-death experience, they would see ghosts. And so maybe that has something to do. But I believe that the sixth sense, the first thing is, like, we lose it over time. But the first thing is we're indoctrined. We're told over and over, like, as kids, it's not real, it's not real. And if we talk about this kind of stuff to normal people, we're crazy, right? And so we're told over and over that it's not real. And so we start to believe it. And another thing is, you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to think about the stuff they put in our food, our water, and our air. Our air is polluted, and whatever's in the water, the fluoride in the water, that attacks your pineal gland, which is where all the some of the psychic abilities come from. And don't get me started on GMOs and the fast food, BS that we eat. All those things lower our vibration. And so we're like being put down to not have this happen. And so I believe, they say the sixth sense, those things where, like, if a person goes blind, they hear better. Or if a person goes deaf, they see better. They lose one sense, your other sense, like, not compromises, like, grows it. And so you could do this experiment, go to a park, sit down and close your eyes, and you'll notice you'll start, with that sense cut off, you'll start to hear, the water, the wind through the trees or things you didn't hear before, because you're being stimulated. All your five senses are constantly being stimulated. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to cut off one sense to grow the other senses. And so when I say the sixth sense, it's like all lumped into one. But what I believe, you know, you have your, everybody says we have six senses. I think we have 10 senses. And I think the sixth sense, it's all lumped into one. But you have your first five senses, the touch, taste, smell, and hearing and seeing. And then you also have the other five are your psychic versions of that. So like psychic touch would be being touched by a ghost. Psychic seeing is seeing a ghost. Psychic hearing is hearing a ghost. And psychic smell would be, there's stories like if you smell your grandma's perfume or smell your grandpa's cigar, those kind of things in the ghost stories. Anyways, anything on that?
Yeah, I like it. I never thought of it in terms of maybe that the actual the senses are maybe mirrored into a psychic world like that. Is that maybe people do hear things, right? More like maybe let's say EVPs or things like this. We've talked about that on previous shows as well. Electronic voice phenomenon, they call it. But maybe people hear these things more because maybe they have that sense, that particular sense locked in, and they're, you know, and I don't know, like how does this actually fit? Do you think are we predisposed to these additional senses, or is it maybe something that we can learn if we just pay close enough attention? What do you think there?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm all about is learning. You know, trying to figure it out, and that's like my motto. You know, don't fear what you don't understand. So I'm trying to learn it, and so what I'm trying to do is, like, purposely trying to cut off the other senses to try to pick it up. It's kind of like an exercise. You have to, you know, if you don't exercise, you're gonna lose it. So you have to practice these abilities, these psychic abilities, in order. Like, if you just go through your life and you just, you know, oh no, ghosts are not real, that's fine. But I'm saying that people that, if you want to experience it, you have to practice. You have to actually like study it, and then apply those practices to your studies. And so another thing I believe is that we're going to talk about vibrational frequencies. And I think that, okay, so we're vibrating on this physical plane, the physical realm of existence, and a ghost is vibrating on a higher plane, the spirit realm or the ether. They're vibrating on, you know, a different plane. And so it's kind of like the ant and the flea and the acrobat, right? And Stranger Things, where they're like right next to each other. And so, like, they're vibrating at a higher frequency than us. And so things like when we raise our vibration, and simple things like eating healthy, you know, drinking water, working out, or like just having positive thoughts, raise your vibration. And you know, they say there's the stories of the monks, how the monks like raise their vibration and they can in the snow, and they can get heat up, they get hotter. So like you raise your vibration, something's happening there, temperature, raising the temperature. And then on the other side, on the spirit realm, a ghost is trying to lower its vibration. That's why there's cold spots. And so when you see a ghost or whenever, you know, you have contact to a ghost, it's because I'm raising my vibration, the ghost is lowering his vibration, and we're like meeting in the middle.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so then different people with different levels of that vibration, as you're describing, may be closer to that ghost world just as a natural state of their attitude and their being, right? Something like that?
Yeah, I think that the vibrational frequency thing, I have to look into that to understand like why we see ghosts, or why, like I said, certain people see them, certain people don't.
Okay. All right. I dig it. Have you ever actually yourself seen a ghost, or know anybody in your family or anybody close that is maybe has seen a ghost or witnessed them on a regular basis?
Yeah, a lot of stuff, like I said, a lot of stuff with me was when I was a kid. And like I said, you know, I lost it. So like that's why I'm trying to, you know, push it. But I guess I could tell a ghost story real quick, like a more recent one.
Sure.
Because I didn't understand. I didn't understand, like, when I was a kid and I was seeing ghosts. Like, I didn't understand what was going on. I was scared. I was terrified. And because it wasn't supposed to happen. And a lot of the things, I didn't understand these things I was seeing, these people that I was seeing, I didn't know them. And so I was questioning, like, what, is this real? Is this all, you know, is it in my head? And so a couple of years ago, had a friend. My wife worked at a bar, and I would hang out with her. And she was a really good person, really like bubbly, lively person. She traveled the world, and she was a really good person. And a couple years ago, she had a brain aneurysm and she died. And me and my wife, we're really sad because our friend had died. We're like grieving. And I was like, at night I was laying there and I was really thinking about her. And I had this terrible thought, this epiphany. And it's not okay. It's not healthy to think this way. But in that moment, I thought I wanted to trade places. That I would rather die and have her live. And that's not okay. It's not healthy to think that way. But I had that thought. And I don't know if I drifted off, dozed off, or I know I wasn't dreaming. Because I woke up and my friend was sitting on the edge of my bed with her back turned to me. And I could see like her her features. I could see her glasses. I could see her makeup. I could see her clothes. And I could tell it was her. And she was like patting my wife in bed next to me, like consoling her, like it's okay, everything's gonna be okay. And that really, made me in the end like I saw her and then like she disappeared. And it really, made me at peace. Like she came to see me before she like went and did what she had to do in this real world. To, like tell me that everything was gonna be okay.
Yeah, interesting. Like the kind of pick you up out of the grief and say, yeah, we're going to be fine. Things are okay on the other side. Yeah, one last visit. That's amazing, man. Yeah, it's so it is something that you've had as a younger individual, and you're trying to learn how to maybe step back into that world and maybe notice these things and see these see spirits. And any luck on that? Yeah. Do you think there's any way that that just regular people can maybe practice and be able to pick up hints from the spirit world at least?
Yeah. I mean, and as always, you gotta be careful. But in researching, I would say, believe it or not, if you go to the library, there's actually a lot of books on just start learning about the afterlife and spirits, read ghost books, read ghost stories. Start learning about it. You'll start to find, ways or, I think just, like I said, us sitting around telling our stories and things like that, like, believe it or not or whatever, but I think everybody has it. Just gotta practice it. And if I have time, do I have time?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I have another kind of a weird thing on that.
Sure.
I had this friend. He has like the gift, whatever you want to call it, the shining, whatever. He saw ghosts, and it was like a family thing. It was like passed down through family. Like, I'm sorry, my dog's barking. Sorry.
That's okay. You're good.
And so it was passed down from generations. His parents had it, and he had it, and then his kids had it. His two daughters had it. Sorry, my dog's barking.
It's cool, man. It's cool.
His daughters had it, and his daughters, they were so scared. They were so scared. They saw these ghosts in their room, in their house, and they were so scared. And one of the daughters, she had this thing. What she did was she went, and she was so scared of the ghost, and she asked her God, or their family was Christian, and she asked her God, whatever, her creator, she asked to have it taken away, and it did, and she never saw ghosts again. That's as far as I know to this point. This was years ago. She never saw them again.
Interesting.
And so I was like super interested, and I was like, what? You could turn it off? Like, she turned it off. And so my question, I guess what I'm going with that is, if you could turn it off, can you turn it on?
Yeah, I would guess, right? So MJ in the chat says people are predisposed to it, and somebody else was saying that it can be learned. So I guess we got differing takes on this. But I would imagine if you could shut it off, maybe you could through meditation or what have you, diet, or I don't know, all these things that we always talk about. Maybe you can turn it on. That's an interesting thought, my man. Fantastic stuff as always. You're the best, Matt. What else you got?
Yeah, I wanted to add that. I wanted to throw. You said meditation. That's a good one too. That's a start, I guess.
Yeah, I think as a meditation as a general principle it can't hurt. That's for damn sure, right?
Yeah. All right, man, I'm going to go. Thank you.
You're the best, Matt. Matt in California, thanks for sharing, and we'll talk to you soon. Great stuff, as always, from Matt. There you go. So we're talking about ghosts tonight. And, again, do you believe in them? I think that's the thing, right? It goes back, hundreds or thousands or even tens of thousands of years here. And with ghost stories, it's not new to humanity. And, as long as we've believed there's some sort of divine spark or divine spirit inside of us, the spirit soul, as it were, that you have to expect that there were ghost stories. Right? I mean, we see people alive walking around and then we see them dead. And it's tragic, it's horrific, it's all this bad stuff. But, right, what happens to that spark, that divine life that was inside of them at one time? It stands to reason that there are theories for that there are people that are, trying to put two and two together and figure out what's really going on. So, this stuff, like I said, it seems like a basic question here, but you guys know us. We don't have to keep it on that level. We can go all kinds of different ways and think of theories about what this may be, what it means. Can you teach yourself to do it, to see and communicate with spirits, all that stuff. Like Matt said, if you can turn it off, can you turn it on? There's a lot here. There's a lot going on and a lot that we can think about and talk about. So if you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord at troubledminds.org, and we'll put you on the show. Let's go to James of Salcedo Paranormal Podcast. Please follow his podcast, guys. He's an amazing dude. James, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Just enjoying all the calls. They're all great, as usual. So, yeah.
100%. What do you think about this? Is it, I know that you've got... you've got probably a lot of ghost stories you've been looking into with the paranormal podcast there. So let's start with the basics then. Do you think that ghosts are real?
Yes. I don't know that everyone sees them or has experiences with them. I guess I should say yes, they are real for some people, and maybe, again, this kind of goes back to the other night a little while back. Your show you did about scientists basically creating realities so that there's not one objective reality, I think it was. For some people, there are. There are ghosts. I know for me, I've had several experiences over the years, and I mean, it's been enough where, it's not every day, but it's been enough where I have to say that there's something to it.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt about that. Depending on who you ask, there's going to be a 1,000 takes on what's happening. I don't know. I'm with you. I kind of think there's something here, but just because I haven't seen it or witnessed it personally, I don't like to discount these things, right? Like I'm with you. I believe anything's possible, and so that's why we're here doing this. Like I said, I call that the responsible citizen way to say this is I believe anything's possible. The troubled minds way to say this is, well, we just drink a lot of the maybe juice, don't we? So that's what we're doing tonight, as usual. Okay, so go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's like I can't say that Bigfoot doesn't exist or does exist. I've never seen one, but I also can't discount. I mean, how many people have had experiences over how long? Same with UFOs. So yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you've got you talk about almost exclusively paranormal stuff, so you got to have some takes on this. So what about people being able to see these things? Do you think it's something they can teach themselves, or do you think it's something that's predisposed?
I think it can be both. I think everyone probably has a different, whether you want to say energy level or vibration level. I think that makes a difference. I think it's a combination of that, and different places have different, different places feel different. So they have other different energy levels or vibration levels. And I think it's a mix of all of that. You could have someone that has never had an experience, but then if they go to a place where there's supposedly a lot of activity, they might have something happen.
Yeah.
But I think it's both.
think it's both. Okay, that's fun. As always, right? I don't have the answers, so we'll keep on trying to find them. So if it's both, then I don't know. What do you think ghosts are then? Do you think it is like someone that suggested maybe is it some sort of spiritual thing? Maybe the spark of life, maybe stepping back through that veil as we've described, or maybe something like Dwayne Dibley described a little bit earlier in the chat here, that maybe it's an echo from a parallel dimension, something like this.
Oh yeah, I think ghosts can be a lot of things. I think the more we we learn about. Oddly enough, the more we learn about science, the more we kind of see different things that appear to be ghostly or seem to be ghosts. I don't think we can just say they're all conscious spirits from the other side. So I think there's a number of things. I can go into that now if you want, or I can wait. I know we got to go to.
We got a couple minutes.
Break in a few minutes.
Yeah, we got a couple minutes if you want to try it.
Yeah, well, I think in some cases they can be conscious spirits that either feel that they're trapped in a place, or they just want to visit a place or visit a person. I think a lot of it has to do with the mindset of the spirit that's there, and what their beliefs are as to what they can do after they've passed. And then probably religion comes into that, what their spiritual or religious beliefs were. I think kind of goes back to the idea that we might be able to make our own reality, or that we make our own reality with what we think and what we do.
Interesting. Meaning this.
Yeah.
That if you believe in an afterlife, you may actually manifest one for yourself, and you be able to come back and visit or meddle or whatever maybe was in your spirit previously, and you've manifested for yourself in an afterlife.
Right. But I do think there are some places that have basically recordings, like energy-based recordings of events. I think that that's known as a residual haunting. I do think those take place as well. I do think that in some cases it's some kind of a time anomaly where people in two different times in the same location may see each other, and they think that they're seeing spirits or, discarnate entities, but they're really just seeing each other across different spans of time, but in the same place.
Interesting. Okay. All right. You want to stick around after the break, James, and keep on talking about this a little bit?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Happy to.
Perfect. We're here with James of Salcedo Paranormal. He's got a podcast. Please check it out. The link is down below on YouTube. And this is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We're talking about ghosts tonight as we ring in the October month coming and the veil becoming thin and Halloween and all this other stuff. We're jumping the gun. We're a little bit ahead of the game, and we're talking about spirits. Do you believe they're real? And if so, what do you believe they are? So 702-957-1037. More Troubled Minds after the break. Be right back. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. We are streaming on Rockfin, DLive, YouTube, and Twitter. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM, and we're taking your phone calls tonight. As always, if you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org, and we'll put you on the show. And tonight, we're talking about ghosts. Not just ghosts, do you believe in them? And if you don't, why do you think other people do? If you do believe in ghosts, what are your theories? What do you think they are? Is it a spiritual thing? Is it a dimensional thing? Is it something completely different? Are we making it up in our mind? Whatever. I'm open to all the theories. As you guys know, this isn't church. This is a talk show. And as such, we're here talking to a good friend. We have James Salcedo of Salcedo Paranormal Podcast hanging out with us and talking about ghosts tonight. Welcome back to the show, James. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Just happy to be talking about this stuff. This isn't the thing that has always interested me the most. So
Right on.
Yeah.
Amen to that. All right. So what else you got theory wise? You want to talk about maybe have you seen a ghost? You want to tell a ghost story? That's maybe a personal thing, or you want to talk theory, or where do you want to take this, my man? You know us. We have no agenda. We just want to kind of have an open conversation.
Yeah. Well, I do think there are kind of getting back to the more possibly skeptical or explainable side of things. I do think there are cases where you can have an experience that feels like it's a experience with a ghost, but it might be your surroundings. Just whether it's the electric in the house, the wiring and all that, or devices giving off energy. Supposedly that can it's really weird that case right there, electromagnetic fields. It said they can either cause hallucinations, or there's also the theory they can help create more paranormal activity.
Okay.
So one thing.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, one thing I've heard about over the years is that if you have if you're having a lot of things happening in your home, you might want to have the electricity, the wiring, checked out, and maybe even the plumbing and just things that could create random energy fields that could affect people.
Okay, so are these random energy fields tricking us into believing they're ghosts, or do you think the ghosts are interacting with them? I missed that part of the theory there.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It says it could go either way.
Okay, I see.
So that's why it's best to, always make sure, especially if it's your own home, if you can, make sure that you have everything checked out. If you're not feeling good all the time, or if you're having weird experiences all the time, not that I'm, again, as the channel in the Discord says, not that I'm an expert, but I've been listening to a lot of shows and reading into this now for almost 7 or 8 years, pretty much most of the time, and that's a thing. So there are cases where it's it may not be anything spiritual or paranormal going on.
Gotcha. Okay. Derek, the Night Stalker, says he wants to jump in and say something with you here. Hang tight, Tam Bam. We'll be right with you. Derek, what's going on, my man? Welcome to the show. Test 1, 2. Are you there?
Yo.
Hello.
What's happening, bro?
Doing our thing, man. Go right ahead. You said you had some points to add to what James was talking about here.
Yeah. Daryl, can you mute real quick? Sorry, I can still hear your stream. Yeah, so really great stuff. Really cool topic, and great call, James. Really cool stuff. You were talking about the the residual effect, and that's like kind of one of my favorite ghost theories. Like the idea that they might not even be actually like presences that are trapped on the other side or whatever. They could, or like spirits, actual deceased people that are trapped on the other side. They could be like more like just the impression they made on like the fabric of reality has lasted, and they might not actually be there at all, which is pretty cool. Yep. And like, I think I mentioned it when I was on your show, James, but there was one story, I think I heard it on Mysterious Universe a few years ago, but it was of this like woman, and she had a story where she saw these, she was like sitting in this chair, and then she in her living room, and then at like the entrance to the living room, she saw these like 3 like adult male ghosts that were like standing at the threshold or whatever. And then she told the story to her family for years. It was like her ghost story. Like she told it to everybody. And then she died. And her 3 sons, this is like 30 years later or whatever, were... Daryl, can you mute your thing, Daryl? I can hear myself talking in the background. Sorry. There was so she was telling the story to everybody, and then she dies, and her 3 sons were standing at the entrance to her living room and saw the ghost of their mother sitting in that chair that she saw the ghost at 30 years ago. Like, and they realized that like they had the realization that they are the ghost that she saw 30 years ago. Her sons were the ghosts, her living sons were the ghosts in her ghost story. So they were just seeing each other separated by like 30 years of time, which is like really trippy, and that's basically it. And then in the Matrix, ghosts are like just programs that don't want to go back to the source, So like the whole ghost idea is kind of scary to me, honestly, in some aspect, because like you're like, unless you're choosing to stick around in like in the afterlife, then you're trapped here. And it seems like kind of a like if you are trapped in certain locations, or like certain like trapped in a jail, like James was talking about in his last episode or whatever, that's kind of scary to me. You know what I mean? Like the idea that you can be stuck in an area for like a couple hundred years, kind of creepy. So I like it better as an idea that like they're choosing to stick around and not be assembled back into the source or the afterlife or the reincarnation cycle or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Right.
Makes sense. Like
and
time travel. Go ahead.
Yeah. And that
that's basically it. I just want to know. That's what you
say. Oh, I was just gonna say that again. I think that comes back to the mindset of the spirit, or the person after they passed. I think in some cases they're trapped because they think that they're trapped.
Yeah.
More than anything else, because there are other cases of spirits obviously coming and going from places, and and even through walls and things, and still interacting with the people there. So I really do think, and I mean, again, I don't know, but just based on all the stories I've heard.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is very interesting.
And I posted that thing about the supermarket. No, that was haunted. That was in the town right next to me at the chain that I used to work at. So like I would shop there all the time. And like back when I had first started at the supermarket that I was at for the first like 10 years, I was like 16 and I absolutely hated it. And I like kind of like formed all these like kind of little like half ghost stories, like the idea that I saw little creepy things like out of the corner of my eye, or like had people that I'd like this one lady or this one like older couple who I thought like I was the only person who like because like, I was the only one that could see them, kind of, because I was like so bored. And it was more like half joking, but like I kind of created this whole story for them, like in my head, that they had shopped at the supermarket and like slipped on some sawdust or whatever. So then they were like constantly trying to like make their purchase every single day, and their card gets declined every single day, and they're trapped in the cycle at the supermarket. But like looking back at it, especially with like the stone tape theory and like the residual haunting idea, it makes me think that just so much energy is like just people walking around the supermarket every single day, like hundreds and thousands of people every single day for years, especially at a time like we just had in the last 2 years, where you're going in there usually not in your best mental state, with a lot of like maybe negative energy you're bringing into the place. And I wonder if that would create some kind of poltergeist or some kind of presence in the store. But
yeah, well, you know what's really cool funny? Yeah, well, you know what's funny about you saying that? There are some places that are supposedly really haunted, and they have legends about why they're haunted. But then when you look into the history of the place, the actual history, you're unable to find those stories that as they were told.
Yeah.
But people still see and have experiences with ghosts that fit those legends in those places. Yeah. So it gets back to the idea of living people, making those ghosts in some way, their energy combining to make, I guess it would almost be, and that's another kind of thing that I think could fit, is just a thought form or a tulpa.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the last thing, but I'll leave. But haunted dolls and like creepy dolls right now are having a weird little moment. I think it's because I have found a bunch, like 10 different links about creepy dolls and haunted dolls, like lists of the creepiest dolls, and like weird dolls that just got found in a wall that like claims to have like killed people or whatever. Right. And it's weird creepy stories. I was like, what's going on? Why are there so many creepy doll stories? And then I see there was a trailer or the first look for a new Trekkie reboot. It's like, oh, that makes sense. That's why all these sites are running these links. But
yeah,
it's another thing, like haunted objects and things that like people could possess and like care about for their whole life or for the entire childhood, or could have traumatic events with. And I wonder if like a piece of them, or just some kind of like tulpa-like thing or some kind of energy, stays with the object, and can linger beyond the person's life or something like that. You know, I'm hearing myself in the background, so I'll go. But really great stuff, Mike and James.
Oh,
appreciate it.
Oh, great stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you soon. He's out of here. I couldn't even move him out. He bounced. Yeah, sometimes you get an echo in your ear. Weird because he's in Discord with you and you don't hear an echo. So
no, it is weird.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say that, I mean, the further back in time you go, there are reports of people making dolls for the purpose of containing spirits.
Ah, interesting. Like a trap, like a Ghostbusters, 2 in a box, ready to go.
In a way,
fast and maybe slow, like that.
Yeah,
except it's a doll instead of a technology. Interesting, man. Remember, we just talked about a couple days ago that hole to hell where they said that they use it as a prison for jinn. So interesting. Some of these places or even objects where they say they trap spirits in. You know what's interesting too about what Derek was saying and what you just mentioned is that it's starting to become like maybe like a booming niche industry where people are selling haunted objects. Check it out on eBay, guys. There's people selling haunted stuff on actual eBay.
In homes. There are people that having a haunted home can be a selling point in some areas.
Exactly.
They mention that now.
Exactly. Yeah, crazy stuff, man. Okay, so we got Tam Man behind you. I want to get her on the show here. So final thoughts from you, James?
I just think anything is possible, and I think so that means there's a lot of things that ghosts can be, and and there's a lot of ways they can be seen or heard, and so that's probably why not everyone has these encounters.
Gotcha.
And enough do so that I think that they're real, at least in some way.
Yeah, real enough that we can talk about them anyway, right?
Yep.
Amen to that. Yep. Amen to that. Everybody follow James here at Salcedo Paranormal. Link, I'll have it in the chat. It's also down below on YouTube right now. If you're wondering where to find him, every single YouTube show we do, he has a link or just below. Go check it out. Thanks, James. You're the best. We'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Thank you.
Pleasure's ours. Pleasure's ours. Have a great night. Taking your phone calls, guys. We're talking about ghosts. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Let's go to Tam Bam. What's up, Tam? Tam in South Africa. How are you, my friend? Let's do the Discord juggle back and forth. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Tam Bam, are you there? All right, I'm going to jump in this. I'm going to jump that. There you go. All right, let's just do it this way. We'll jump on the caller queue. What's up, Tam? Can you hear me? Test 1 2.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Are you talking to me?
Talking to you. You're on the show.
Hello?
Can you hear me? You should be able to hear me. Test 1 2.
Aww.
Testing.
Hello.
Hello. All right. Testing. Hello. There's something going on your end there, Tam. Hello. Okay, so I'm going to jump over here. There you go. All right. So I'm moving out. Look, Tam, we can hear you. You just can't hear us. So maybe try rebooting Discord, and we'll put you back on. There we go. Let's try this one more time. Tam Bam, can you hear me? Test 1 2. Let's do this. Testing 1 2. Tam, can you hear me? Test 1 2.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Fantastic, loud and clear. Sorry about all that technology.
Oh, good, because obviously when I call, a storm breaks out where I am.
Oh, nice.
So I'm just concerned.
Nice. Okay. Well, stay away from.
Okay. So outlets. I wanted to. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go right ahead. Yes. Go right ahead. I hear you loud and clear.
Hello.
Yes. You're on the show.
Damn it.
Tim, you're there. Let's see. It says my. I think it's probably our latency from one to another. We're in different parts of the world here. Let me see if I can change this. Hold on one sec. Let's see if we can do some magic.
Hello?
Test. I hear you. Can you hear me? Test.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Go right ahead.
Okay. Are you sure?
Positive. Loud and clear.
Okay. Obviously, there's great callers. Everyone's got something so fascinating to say, and all of it is relevant. I really do believe it. But I just stumbled upon something that I've never even knew about, and it's called RAS. It's a reticular activation system, and it basically is it's a bundle of nerves at your brain stem that filters out.
Oh, awesome! Awesome. A bundle. Okay, so she disconnected. There's a storm happening. Welcome back. Can you hear me, Tim? Yeah, the weather's perfect out there, I guess. You just got kicked off mid-sentence.
Okay, but you know why? Because when I call, a storm would break out, obviously.
Obviously. That's sometimes some of us have that luck, don't we? But go ahead. I think we can hear you. Just go right ahead.
Okay, so where did you hear to?
You were describing the program, and you said something about what it was, and then mid-sentence you got cut off.
Okay, so it's called Reticular Activating System. It's a bundle of nerves in our brainstem that filters out unnecessary information, so only the important stuff gets through. So basically, in your brain, your brain actually only sees either value or threat, and it filters. And it basically, so if you're in a room with all these people and a gorgeous woman walked into the room, you would notice her. If a terrorist walked into the room, you would notice him. And it filters out everything else that doesn't cause a threat or you don't see value in. So how I believe it now is it filters everything you believe. So whatever you believe in now, your RAS is going to feed it. So one example that this guy came up with is, when you think you lost your keys and you're searching everywhere and you cannot at all find your keys no matter what you do, but you ask someone else, and like your wife, and your wife finds it immediately. And that's because you didn't see your keys. And it filters it out as not a threat or value. But you can activate your RAS. So by activating it, so if you put in the intent of, I believe in ghosts, I'm going to see one tonight, or whatever the case is, eventually your RAS is going to feed into that. And if you want to turn it off, it's the same principle. You ignore it and you deactivate your RAS. And that is something I came across. And I thought it was actually quite interesting, putting science behind the woo-woo,
Yeah, that makes sense. And of course, I think it's both. I think we're kind of caught in between. I think that's part of the human experience here. But I like that. It's that your brain. I was just looking at that actually. Have you seen that thing where they have the people passing the basketball around and the gorilla walk through the middle of that? Have you seen that video?
No.
So it's so there's like maybe 6 people, and it's like a little frame just like on a TV here, and there's people in black shirts and people in white shirts, and they're passing the basketball around as they move around in this little circle. And so the when it starts, it says, okay, count the times the people in white shirts pass the basketball. And so it starts, and they're passing the ball around and moving around circles, and you're counting them, and you're so focused on them passing the ball around, you don't notice that actually a gorilla literally walks through the middle of the frame, does like a little dance, puts his arms up, and continues walking out of the frame. And I just did it with my wife earlier today. Like I noticed the gorilla because I knew it was coming. I asked her to come over and look at this and see if she noticed. She counted the passes correctly. She missed the gorilla. Right. And so it's the same sort of thing. It's like you're so hyper focused on a particular thing. Like you said, maybe it's value or it's danger, and that's it. Or you're focused on a particular counting exercise or something that you just miss it. You just miss the forest for the trees type of thing, right?
100%. It's like, tell me right now, without looking at anything, no, nothing. What is the color of the first G of Google? You can't tell me.
Red.
And everybody goes to Google every single day, but no one can tell you what the first color is. It's not red, it's blue.
Is it? Okay, well, there you go. I'm wrong.
Isn't that bizarre?
I'm wrong. Yeah, I guess I'm wrong. Yeah, it is weird. It's because, it's not notable at all, right? It doesn't matter. It'll never come into a conversation until you go, gotcha, and ask me what the first, right? But that's why we don't catalog it. It's unimportant information. I get it. I understand.
Absolutely. So if you're going to go ghost hunting, and you put the intent behind, listen, I'm going to see something tonight. You do your prayers and you open your whatever, your third eye, whatever you do. and you go in there with the intent of searching for something, but all your people around you and the building itself, you kind of see as not valuable and not as a threat. You will notice the threat, which is the ghost.
Yeah, I would think so. That would scare the piss out of me. Yeah, that makes sense. So we got a couple minutes left, and you're welcome to stay after we go into the third hour, of course. But final thoughts on this notion here. Do you think ghosts are actually real? What's your thought on that as we wind this down?
Oh, fuck it. Oh, I mean, shit, yes. I mean, damn it. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good? Yes, okay. So ghosts are real.
Damn it.
You're cool. Ghosts are real then. And have you ever seen one?
Yes.
How about that?
Yes, I have. It's a very awful story, and I will tell it to you after the break or whatever.
Okay, perfect. We're here with Tam.
Oh my God.
You're cool. This is Tam Bam in South Africa, and we're talking about ghosts tonight. And we're telling ghost stories where the question is, do you think they're real? And if you don't believe in them, why do you think other people do? And if you do think they're real, what are some of the theories? And that's what's going on tonight. This is basically what Troubled Minds is about. This is not the church of whatever it is that believe this or believe that. It's people getting together from all different backgrounds, all different countries, all over the world, belief systems, it doesn't matter, and just talking about things. And that's an important concept to me, and I think that's what's making this successful. That's what's making people interested. It's what keeps me coming back. If it wasn't for you guys, I'd have hung up the cleats a long time ago. But here we are, still talking about ghost stories onto the internet, as it were. So let's wrap this up. Thank you again, Tam Bam, for helping us close out this show. We'll have you on the beginning of the third hour here, and you're the best. You're the best. Hang tight. We'll get you back in just a second.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening, guys. As we continue trucking here and finish up the show, that's what this is all about. It's about getting together and having a conversation. Sometimes things are simple, sometimes they are not. We try and make them both. So if you're listening to us on the Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop, Lighting the Void. If you're listening to us on any other platform or the podcast feed, stay tuned for a third hour of Troubled Minds. And as we finish, be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. Hang tight, Sam. Be right with you. So we are going to take a quick 2-minute break. Actually, let's not do that. Let's go right. We've got a lady waiting. Let's go right back to Tam and continue this conversation. We'll take the break after Tam's done. Welcome back to the show, Tam Bam. Let me kill this music and let's do it. Let's not keep you waiting. Let's just continue the conversation, shall we?
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
Listen, I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. You're good.
Do you get fined if one of us swear?
No, it's okay. You're fine. There's no fines. There's no fines. If there was a fine, I would have a mute button and I'd be able to catch it in real time. Once that happens, I will have one of those gizmos. Don't worry about it. You're good. It's all fine.
I'm so sorry.
I did it last night to myself. I did it last night to myself. You're good. I said shit. I was like, oh.
Yeah, but I said everything. I mean,
okay.
Fuck, shit, damn it. I mean,
right.
What the hell?
That's all right. You're welcome to being human. You're allowed.
Oh my!
It's all good. It's all good. All right, continue. You had some good thoughts there regarding how our brain filters these things, and maybe. So you're suggesting that maybe we're fooling ourselves.
No, I think it's more of let's think of it as self-preservation. Your brain self-preserving itself. I mean, if you go into terror all the time, every day, and you actually see ghosts, the first thing you want to do is shut it down. And now there's an option. I mean, I'm not talking about children who are born with this ability. That's completely different. I'm not talking about people who had a life and death situation. That's also something completely different. But there is an opportunity to shut it down if something really terrifies you, and that's self-preservation, which is very important.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, we again, like I said, it's funny, self-preservation. It's that very first thing that's drilled into our head as a kid, right? Like, no, don't go run in front of a car. It could kill you. We don't know what kill you means, but it's like it becomes a thing. It becomes a theme for the rest of our life. But it's not the only thing, is it? It's not the only thing at all. But it definitely is super prevalent because we have to learn we're mortal. We have to learn there's consequences. We have to learn these things. And I'm with you there. So you got a ghost story to tell you wanted to say as well?
Yeah, you can go get your beer while I tell the story.
I just filled up. I'm good to go. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. Thank you for considering my beer.
Okay, so I have had... Okay, I'm going to tell you a brief overview. So when I was 2 years old, I was pronounced clinically dead because I drowned. And then I don't know how the whole story goes. My mother won't tell me, but eventually the nurse came and said, no, I'm breathing. So I don't know how long I was dead for. But, something happens when you're a child and you go into this kind of state. And ever since then, I've had this feeling of, I don't know, something's been following me around my whole life. And when I was living in Johannesburg at a stage, I had a neighbor who was a witch. And I thought it would be best to make friends with her instead of have enemies, to each their own. So, and I had some weird experiences there. So the one night I was, every night I was there, actually since I was in varsity, my bed would shake at night. Not as bad as it became eventually, but it would shake like someone was nudging my bed the whole time. And it started to piss me off, to the point where I actually, screamed at this thing. And then I went to go to another bedroom to see if it was me or the bedroom, and it was me, because this thing followed me. So eventually one night, I think my little boy was 2 years old, and he was 3 years old. He was lying in the bed with me, and he said, Mommy, why are you moving the bed? I said, it's, just go to sleep. It's not me, whatever. And a few nights later after that, I was sleeping, dead asleep. And when I sleep, a volcano can erupt around me and I will not wake up. And the bed moved in such a way that I thought someone actually kneeled the bed. They really kicked and shoved the bed with their knees, to the point where I half rolled onto my stomach because I was on my side, and I rolled onto my stomach. I got such a fright, and I turned. As I sat up and turned, I saw this black figure run from the one side of my bed straight into the front of my bed and out the door. And I thought, okay, well, it's time to open the Bible and start.
Yeah.
So that was my one experience, and that was very evil. That was very, very bad. You guys know that I can actually smell death or smell evil, and it smells like a sick, rotten, dead corpse, hot trash and bin juice situation.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I've smelt an angel once, and it smells like every single flower on the planet mixed together. You cannot pinpoint the smell. But I'm not saying this is, legit. This is just my experience and my perception. So, if I had to choose smells, I'd obviously go with the nicer one, angel. So, we stick to the angel in the Bible. And I don't really care what other people think, how they perceive what I'm saying, but for me it works. Sticking to the Bible and all that stuff works for me. It keeps the evil and the demons at bay, which is, essentially what I want, because I'm scared to death. Then what else happened? Oh, I was in my kitchen once. And my grandfather died when I was 16, but I was in my kitchen once, and I was playing my music list. And the one song, it's supposed to go from one song to the next, to the next, to the next. I saved it in my playlist on YouTube Music. And the one song from Bruno Mars played itself over again. And I felt this presence come around me from the backside and give me a hug. I literally felt it, and I knew it was my grandfather. I I can't explain to everyone what gut feel, sixth sense, that kind of feeling, how it feels, because everybody's different. But I knew in my heart of hearts that that was my grandfather. I mean, how does one song on your phone, which is a rigid, like a playlist that you're supposed to play one after the other, how does one song repeat itself? So that's my other story.
That's good. There's your glitch in the matrix, or whatever this happens to be.
No, man, that's not a glitch. I've actually seen one.
Yeah, seen a ghost, or seen a glitch?
I've seen a glitch.
Oh, glitch. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so I only put it in those terms because when you're talking about technology, it's a glitch, right? But it's not necessarily. So I'm not demeaning your story by that. I'm just technology is a glitch, but it may not be. Tell me about the glitch in the matrix.
Okay, so years ago, my family has a vacation home down in Knysna by the Cape, and one day a friend of mine and I were going for our morning 7-kilometer walk on the beach, and we saw this freaking bird hovering, and I thought it was like hovering, but she said no, it's not even moving. And we walked around this bird. This bird was in the air about 3 meters above me. I don't know how much that is in USA language, but 3 meters above me.
10 feet.
And this bird, 10 feet, did not move. It didn't blink. It didn't flap. It didn't go according to the wind. It just stayed there. And I thought to myself, I could actually kill myself for not bringing my fucking phone, because that's like the perfect glitch. And we carried on walking because I was so angry I didn't get my phone. And as I turned around, it flapped its wings and flew off. It was the most bizarre thing. And then, recently, in the last 3 weeks, we've had so many reports in the area which I stay in, the neighborhood, of ring circles, those smoke circles in the sky. I've even got pictures. Things are going down in South Africa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's it dipped in the news and then out of the news. Is it still horrific going on down there?
With what exactly?
Well, with the lockdowns, with whatever that's going on with the government, with the butchering white people. Is all that still going on?
We haven't heard, because the media is not the best reliable source of valuable information. But it's still going on. It always has been. It's also area located. So I've said before, we're in a very upmarket area, so nothing really major happens here. We've got kind of the best security system, and if we're on a speed dial for the army kind of thing, right?
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, well, we work very hard to be here. So with Rona, we're pretty good. The Delta wave is almost over for us.
Well, get ready for the next one. Just saying.
Yeah, they're saying December, but the president said we might be going down to level 1, which is sorry.
You're good.
You'd think by now at my age I'd learn how to swallow.
You're good. You're allowed to be human. It's okay. Go right ahead.
So level 1 is more engagements, more activities, things like that. Decrease. Our curfew is increased, obviously. So it's getting better. Okay,
good. So what would you say then regarding? You did have some chat. You were saying that regarding spirits and people, is that some people are predisposed and other people are not. Well, actually, that's not what you said. You said that some people could turn it on and turn it off, being able to see and contact spirits, right?
Well, yes. With the reticular activation system, the RAS, you can turn it off. If you are not intently looking for a ghost, and if you're not intently feeling it, the fear, you will not see it. So this is why some people don't care about ghosts. They don't, because they haven't seen it. They don't give it much attention. But if you're a person who is quite fearful, quite anxious, who watches ghost things and kind of is teetering on the edge of believing or not believing until they see it, they might be able to see it. But then you get mass collection, such as Halloween. So if everyone around you is going into the Halloween spirit and playing ghost jokes or whatever the case or whatever happens, you get a mass hysteria kind of situation happening where the veil does become a little thinner, and you get more experiences with people, which logically makes sense.
Okay. All right. I'm with you. Like I said, I don't see any of these things. Unfortunately, I have, just some weird stories where I, out of the corner of my eye saw maybe a shadow, maybe not. You know how you kind of fool yourself, or maybe not. There's no actual. I didn't see anything run out of the room or any of that. So I don't have any compelling or good stories to really tell. It's just there's a feeling, right? Like you said, you kind of have a feeling that maybe some of this stuff is or isn't true. And I think there's enough people out there describing it in detail, in actual specific detail, that it's hard to ignore. I think I'll probably settle at that it's hard to ignore. I think it's real just because so many other people think it's real, and so I'm okay with that.
That's the thing, isn't it? One person, you might say, "Oh, you're crazy." 5 people, still crazy. 100 people, maybe. 1,000 people, you start to listen. Millions of people, you take a very good listen. You haven't seen an ET, but I'm sure you bloody well believe they're here. But you're still teetering on, well, he needs to come down and give me a high five before I really believe.
Right.
You know?
Yep. Yeah.
It's the same with ghosts.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, that's the thing, right? It's one thing to discount people's experiences entirely, but we're all so different and so varied that I think discounting people that are different from yourself is discounting another portion of humanity, and I think it's not okay. I think it's we should at least consider it that things are happening that we are not, that maybe if we don't experience them ourselves, other people may, and hopefully just hearing about it is enough. So
but that's the thing. Sorry, you got to look at vibration and frequency. You know that we can't see a certain bandwidth out of our spectral realm. We can only see a certain amount of colors, whereas a little, what are those little? Anyway, there's a creature who can see 16 colors. We can't denounce that anything else exists until we experience it. So it's all hearsay for yourself. With ghosts especially. But I'm telling you, Mike, if you put the intent behind it, if you go and research reticular activation system and you really put it to work, I'm sure you'll see something.
Okay. All right. I'll look into it. I appreciate it. Great stuff as always, Tam. We're going to take a break here, but I don't want to run you off. You're welcome to stay as long as you like.
No, you go do your thing. I see Kelly is on the other line.
Yeah, we'll get to Kelly in just a moment, and just want to wrap up with you, though. So final thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Well, final thoughts on this topic here, ghosts and the rest of this stuff.
Whatever, to each their own. Be supportive and be kind, and that's it.
Amen. Amen to that. Sometimes the message is simple. Tam, you're the best. Stay safe out there. God bless. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay, you too. Cheers. Bye.
Thanks a lot. There we go. All right. We are doing our thing, talking about ghosts, and sorry about that. I think I dropped Tam into the wrong channel here. Crap. Just disconnect Tam. Sorry about that. That was my fault. I meant to move you out into the other one. Kelly, hang tight. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break, and I got to take the dog out just to make sure. And we'll be right back, guys. This is Troubled Minds on Michael Strange. That was Tam Bam. We're here with Kelly. We're going to go to him in just a moment here. Let's actually bump back to the on-air Kelly. I'll bring you in, and let's do this. And there we go. There we go. All right, changing channels, and there we go. Okay, so we're gonna be with Kelly in just a second here. We're talking about ghosts tonight, actual the ghost experience. And again, do you think it's real? And it's okay if you don't. This is part of the conversation, right? It's not. Again, we do drink a healthy dose of the maybe juice and consider these things as real. However, if you don't believe it, it's okay. You're definitely welcome to be part of this conversation. And why do you think people believe in them otherwise? And I think that's the thing here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Kelly in just a moment here, and we're just hanging out. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break, and more Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We'll be back with Kelly in Colorado in just one moment. Don't go anywhere. 2-minute break, and we will be right back. Thanks, Tam, for the call. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we're talking about ghosts tonight. We're one day from October. Maybe we've actually rung in past the witching hour to October 1 in some of your jurisdictions. The fine folks that time travel in the United Kingdom are already into October. So we're maybe jumping the gun, but that's okay. We're talking about ghosts and the veil and all the rest of this stuff. Do you think it's real? And if you do, what are your theories on why some people see it, why some people don't? And if you don't think it's real, why do you think other people believe it? Those are the questions tonight and what we're doing, and we'll keep on trucking. Okay, let's see. Okay, all right, cool. Let's keep on trucking. Kelly, whenever you're ready, welcome to the show. Kelly in Colorado, old friend of the show. Welcome, my friend. What's going on tonight?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Chilling, man. Doing our thing. Talking about the ghosts and things that go bump in the night. What's your theories, my man?
I don't know. This one's kind of a difficult one because, well, I don't know. It's, after death, I believe that, the people, whatever people call a spirit or their soul, for me, it'd be, you just transform back to your true self, which would be, true, pure energy. When energy doesn't die, it just transforms. In the native culture, they don't say that, we don't say that it's, you die, you just change, you just change worlds. But, I don't know, because I've seen a couple things, in my lifetime when I lived out in Alaska, but, I guess you would say it was a ghost. It's pretty interesting, but I don't know what would keep, I could see what would keep that person's energy, like them, keep them here after death, after the body dies anyway, but I could see something, because if for some particular reason, maybe some people that were suddenly killed, they don't even know they're dead, or, maybe, just love, pure love for someone, that you want to probably just maybe say a final goodbye or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that stuff makes sense to me. Is that, like some have suggested that spirits that pass over, they want to actually stay around because there's something left that they didn't get to complete, right? And some of those old ghost tropes go back, many years of, maybe a murder, or maybe, like you said, died suddenly and didn't get to say goodbye to the kids. Things like this, right? Is that these spirits are kind of stuck until something happens that maybe releases them, right?
Yeah, so I wasn't going to call in, but there's a story that my brother just told me when I went to Alaska for my niece's, his daughter's wedding. And all right, so my brother is one of those persons that has the ability, when he can do out of body experience, or like, what people would call, the ability to walk around, while they're, sleeping or even meditating. But with his story, he's told me before, is that when they first moved into this house they bought, his daughters were a little bit younger. His youngest daughter, kept saying that she, she felt real uneasy in her room. So, I don't know how long he's had this ability, because, this is kind of strange to hear it now, at our age, But, he was saying that, so he would, he got up out of bed, or out of his body, after he slept. And, he's walking through his house, and he said it looked like, it was a sunny day. The sun was shining and shit. So, but he's walking around the house, and then he walks towards his daughter's house, his daughter's room. And when he opens in the door, the whole room is dark, right? It's like you could see like what's on the wall, like pictures and stuff, but everything was dark. And he looked on the side of the wall, and it looked like it wasn't covered. You could see the paint behind it. So he starts grabbing it, and he starts pulling it, right? And he starts, next you could start seeing, that it's being pulled toward him, and whatever's, the shadow that's farthest away from him, it starts being pulled off from the wall. So next thing you know, he looks around. His daughter's bedroom's by the bathroom, and he grabs this jar. He's telling me. So he starts putting this black stuff, whatever is coming off the wall, into this jar. And then when he finally plugging it, right, he could hear whatever, something screaming, and he just plugged it into a jar. So now after he did that, he said that, in his dreams that he would do, like, visit different people that he knew, right, like in their homes. But he could hear, like some people say, it just feels weird or something. So, yeah, he's over there. I guess he's doing out-of-body experiences and, visit or seeing stuff like that. And he's jarring these, he's telling me he's jarring these evil spirits. Like whatever evil spirits, because he knows that they're not supposed to be there because they give off a different vibration, he says, or like a different, he just knows. It just knows that whatever it is, it's not even supposed to be there. But the freakiest part when he was telling me when I went up there is that his brother-in-law had committed suicide. Right, this was years ago, probably like 3-4 years ago. Well, no, actually a little bit longer than that. But he said he just he got up, out of his, what he used to do at night sometimes, and he had a weird feeling to being pulled towards his sister-in-law's house, where the kids are at. So he goes to the house and he's walking around his sister-in-law's house, and he walks into the bedroom where the little girl's at, and there he is, his brother-in-law, sitting at the bed, and kneeling down while his niece is sleeping on the bed. And he looks at him and he tells him, "Hey, man, you're not supposed to be here right now, or you're not even supposed to be here anyway." He goes, "I'm going to give you." He goes, "You know what? He tells him his name. He goes, "Hey, man, I'm going to give you 15 minutes, to say your last goodbye, but you can't be here. I'll wait for you outside." So he walks outside, to wait for him on the porch. And when he's sitting there on the porch, all of a sudden he opens the door, and this other dude's standing there on the porch. And so my brother closes the door, and he looks at him. And, that guy starts talking to him for a little bit. And Tino's just sitting there waiting for, his brother-in-law. And then that guy tells him, "We're not going anywhere." That's what he tells my brother. And my brother looks at him, right? And he goes, "What'd you just say?" He goes, "Yeah, me and, his brother-in-law," he goes, "we're not going anywhere." And then my brother, how he does it, he says how he does it, he snatches him up by the scruff of the neck or by the throat. And then that's when he starts, because he carries these jars around with him now. And he grabbed that dude and he stuffed him in the jar. But that one was... Yeah, that one was a weird one because he said, he's never had that happen where, someone, like that, tell him, "Hey, we're not going anywhere," or like there's two of them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's like basically a spirit, right? Like a spirit of such. So okay, let me just recap this, make sure I understand correctly. So your brother was in bed and maybe stepped out into maybe like an astral state. He was still actually asleep, right? It was sort of an out-of-body experience?
Well, he does that all the time, though, when he sleeps. So
Okay.
he goes around and hunts these things.
I see.
So, but the thing about it with this one, he said he had a weird feeling like a pull, like something was pulling him towards his sister-in-law's house, right? Where the kids, because his brother-in-law is the one who committed suicide. And then when he opened up the kid's door, there he is. He said he was on his knees kneeling by the bed, and the girl, his little girl sleeping there. And he's crying, and he was like, "Hey, man, you're not," he kind of shocked because he's looking at him. He's like, "What the hell?" And then he tells him, "Hey, man, I don't want to say his name, but he goes, 'Hey, man, you're not,' he goes, 'What are you doing?' He goes, 'Man, I can't, Tino.' He goes, 'I can't leave.' He goes, 'I can't.' He goes, I know. I goes, 'I'm not supposed to.' He goes, 'But I can't.' He goes, 'This is my baby girl.' He goes, 'Yeah, man, you can't be here.' He goes, 'You're not supposed to be here. You got to go.' He goes, 'I'll tell.' He goes, 'I'll give you 15 minutes and I'll wait out on the porch.' And that's when he went outside, and he goes, and this weird dude, he goes, 'I've never seen him before.' And I was asking him what he looked like and everything. He goes, but then he told me, he goes, yeah, me and him ain't going nowhere. And then he goes, what did you just say? And then that's when he kind of like, like sat up. And then that's when my brother snatched him up by the throat and started stuffing him in the jar.
So is that, so what is that? Is that an evil spirit? Is that somebody that's challenging him and saying, you can't be here in this astral realm? This is my space, not yours. What's going on there exactly? What do you think?
Yeah. That guy that whoever was, that told him, the guy that was on the porch. Yeah, he said that. He goes, man, he goes, I could feel that he wasn't, he goes, man, that was pure evil right there. That's the only thing he could explain it. He goes, because when he's doing his astral plane and walking around, whatever, I don't know if you call it astral planing or out of body experience, but whatever he's doing, because it's like a dream state, he says, but he's like, it's like everyday life, right? But I don't know, man. It's like a fucking Matrix, I guess. I don't know. That's how I see it as. But he's walking around jarring all these fucking demons or whatever, or these things that look like humans, or you know what I mean. Or he's helping people. He said he's trying to help people too. That hey, you got to go, and some of them go, because they know they're not supposed to be there. Sometimes they just want to linger around a little bit longer.
Yeah, that makes sense. Crazy stuff here. So what do you think the significance of the black goo is? Is that putting it into the jars? Is it like the bad feelings or emotions or something like this, or is it something entirely different?
I don't know. Well, the thing that was on the wall when he first told me about that first story, he goes, that was like he said it was like, I don't know if this thing was trying to hide. That could have been a demon as well. He goes, when he started pulling it, it's kind of, he goes, they look like, how like cartoons where you just like pull something off the wall, they look like, like the old cartoons, where they look like they could pull something in. It was like pulling the street or something, and when they're chasing something. Yeah. That's what he was, how he explained it. He goes, that's what it looked like. He goes, I just kept pulling angles, and it was coming off the walls and the ceilings and everything. He goes, I said, fuck it. He goes, I just started stuffing it in this jar. He goes, and that's when he knew he had the ability to do that. So, okay. He's like, after that, he's like, he just started, because he could already astral plane. He's been doing that for years.
Okay, so it became like actually Derek says, kind of astral ghost busting of sorts. Like he's actually finding these spirits and maybe trapping them, imprisoning them somehow.
Yeah, man. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Are you kidding me? Because I'm very, we're not religious at all, but we're very spiritual, because our Native American side. But like, because I've seen ghosts, right? I know whatever you would call a ghost. I've seen two of them when I lived out in Alaska. I mean, I think I told this story before when I came back from from partying or going out with some friends one night, and I was washing my face, and I looked up. I was after my just kind of like rubbing my face with some water, and when I looked up back in the mirror, there was this old man. He was like his face was like right, kind of like behind me. Not in my peripheral, but like just barely out of mine. But I could see him in the mirror. And when I turned to the side to look, he wasn't there. And I looked in the mirror again, and that's why I said it. For me, it kind of looked like when it disappeared, it was like almost a mist, and you could barely see it. I mean, it wasn't like like a whole misty. It was just kind of I don't know, man. It was, you could say it was like kind of phasing out or something. But yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, it seems like it. Lots of things going on there. That again, right? Is it that whole spiritual world? Is it dimensional? Right? Is it kind of walking into other realms? Like like we've talked about in the past, that the entire astral realm becomes something else. And maybe it's that purgatory. Maybe it's that space between where you're supposed to live and where you're supposed to rest. Right? Who knows? I think there's a lot going on here. Is that trying to figure it out? Is, like you said, what the fuck, bro? What's going on with this?
Yeah. Well, Because, I heard the story, a couple years ago when he first told us about it. I was like, wow, I was kind of, like I said, we're native. So that part was like, understandable because, he's got the ability to be like a shaman or something. But when he started telling me, what he was doing, and I was like, bro, I was kind of tripped. That kind of tripped me out when he had the ability to do that. To astral plane, because I've done that too. Like you try to do the out of body experience, and I've done that through meditation, heavy meditation. But to like get out of bed and just start walking around and shit, and then grabbing like what he's doing.
Yeah, strange, and it is weird that kind of no matter what you do, like if you're talking about the spiritual realm, you see things, you see entities, right? You're talking about even like hallucinogens like DMT or ayahuasca. You see what they call machine elves. It's like when you go into these other realms, there are things there. So it doesn't seem surprising to me that if you take a walk in the astral plane, you're going to run into things, right? Whether they're spirits or what have you. So interesting stuff, man. But you've never seen. You said you've walked in the astral plane, heavy meditation. Have you seen anything? Any entities there? Anything try to contact you or talk to you at all?
The only time that I had, because we, like I was telling you, me and Michelle, we used to sun gaze all the time, and that's heavy meditation too, because you're trying to work your way up to 45 minutes looking at the sun, before sunset, or you got an hour. It's an hour time frame, where the sun is going down sunset, or an hour after sunrise, because there's zero. It's like no, I wouldn't say ozone, but there's whatever the sun gives off, right? There's anyway. It's like it doesn't really hurt your eyes. That's the whole point. So it's for sun gazing. There was one time I was I was probably in maybe about 38 minutes, and I don't know, man. I started seeing what it looked like. I was sitting at a table. And there was at first it looked like shadows moving about, right? Like kind of around the table. But then after a while, it started coming into focus where it looked like, I don't know, man. It didn't get too clear for me, but, it was kind of like I was like at a guest at a table and just like listening to a conversation. I don't know. It was weird. It happened, probably I just sat and watched though. Cause for me, cause like that was some of the first times that ever happened, that I could feel that I was not in my body, but I was like, it was weird. I don't know how to really explain it, but it was for the first time. It was like, cause my heart was pounding, I was like, what the fuck, so, but yeah, it was for me. I don't know. It was like I said. It felt the feeling I felt was like I was I wasn't wasn't supposed to be there. Like someone, hey, come on over and have dinner or something. It was that feeling. So it was I was comfortable, but and like I said, it was I don't know, man. It was and I didn't say nothing. That's the thing about it. I just sit and listen.
Yeah, that's weird, man. Nothing like that's happened to me, but like I said, I seem to be, I don't know, maybe dead to that world. But again, like I said, I wonder if it's one of those things you could teach yourself. Do you think if you taught yourself maybe more in that more meditation time and things like this, do you think you would be able to maybe pass into that world easier?
I mean, yeah, that's where I was, I was getting into a lot of Buddhism and Hinduism, a lot of that, because they suggest, to do that, because that's a form of control yourself. Because if you can meditate, you can handle, it's like people who can handle walking on fire, or like that guy that, could run around, in the in the freezing cold, jump into like polar water, and run miles barefoot. Because that's all that shit is meditation. With him too, though, is like a lot of breathing techniques, which is also meditation. But yeah, it's all mind over matter, anyways. This is just matter. So there's times it's just all it is. It's a lot of practice, and Buddhism. They tell you because, and sometimes you think that it was how you sit, and they tell you in the lotus position and stuff like that. But I find if you can lay down, right, and just lay on your bed and just start meditation from there, as long as you're comfortable and you're more relaxed.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like everything, practice, right? Practice. How you get to Carnegie Hall, don't you? Practice.
Yeah.
Practice. Yeah.
I mean, for you too, like I was, because you guys are in the desert out there, man. You could, I was telling my son-in-law and his wife, they were asking us about what, we were going down to the beach a lot when we lived in San Diego when I was stationed down there. And, we were showing them the practice of sun gazing, and you guys are out in the desert. You guys, I don't know if you guys have a lot of cloudy days, but I'm pretty sure you guys could do some good practicing out there.
Yeah, I would think so. Unfortunately, on the rim, we've got like mountains kind of all the way around the valley here. So I don't know if it has to be right on the horizon or if the mountains count or any of that. But yeah, I could look into that. So you say it's beneficial, something worth doing?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, it's more for your personal beneficial, because everybody goes, when you do it, it's like anything else. You're gonna have your own. It's like your own journey, right? So, but yeah, I mean, they say that you lose that from appetite because you get a lot of your energy from the sun. Just there was this guy. He was I mean, not to get off topic, but he's from India, right? And he calls it sun eating though, and he calls himself a sun eater. So Dave did test on him where like he was in a room for 2 months, right? He only sipped on water a little bit and didn't eat nothing. And people they think they did all the tests during like once or twice during where he was do the 2 months, and then afterwards, and there was no change on anything. He was perfectly he was fine, but he did drink a little bit of water while he was doing it, but no food.
Yeah, let's see. His name is Ram Bahadur Bomjan, a Buddhist monk, meditated for 10 months straight without food or water, they say. National Geographic was involved, and they had witnesses of the whole thing. That's crazy.
Yeah, the first one I think he did was for like NASA though, and they were just kind of curious, like because why not look into that? If you send astronauts, say like even through the galaxy, right? You can stop by the sun, just like all these things that looks like they're sucking energy from the sun. You could do it. Humans could do the same thing. Just be like that meditation where you don't even need to eat. Just maybe not even water, but I would say water, but I don't know about no water at all. Dry up.
Yeah, right. It seems unlikely, but yeah. I don't know. Crazy stuff here. So I don't know. What are your final thoughts here on the spiritual world? Do you think that do you think this is real? Can you teach yourself to see spirits, or do you think it is maybe predetermined that we have it or we don't?
I don't know, man, about that. You would have to. I mean, you could probably practice that too. You'd have to reach out, and that's the thing too. With these movies like Star Wars, for example, like when they talk about the Force, to me, the way they explain it, and then, all the stuff that I've read with, like I said, through Buddhism and Hinduism, I mean, even through Christianity and like the Gospel of Thomas, when they say how powerful we are, man, all you'd have to do is, practice it. like, you know, filling out through, you like put yourself out there. It's just like how they explain the Force, you know, you put yourself out there and feel it. You know, feel it bind you, feel it running through you. You could do that. I'm pretty sure you could, you know, anybody could. I don't know about, like, because there's some people that just automatically are in tune with that. You know, there's no way. I mean, you can't, like, these people are just born with it. And I believe that's my brother. But, you know, to find out after all these years that, you know, it was pretty trippy, man.
Yeah, that's wild, man. So it seems like he's a spirit hunter of sorts, to fugitive spirits, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, that's what, like, so what are you doing now? He goes, man, I don't know. He goes, I don't do it all the time. He goes, but, you know, he goes, you could just, you know, I'll go around just as, you know, see, like, people, like, you know, like his friends or whatever, you know, like through, and there would be times where he said you could feel him. He could feel him through, like I said, like a vibration or something, you know, or you could tell some people that, you know, like I said, you could tell that, you know, they're not supposed to be there. They know they're not supposed to be there, but, like, you know, they want to just do one last look or one last, you know, goodbye or something. But yeah,
makes sense. Breaking the rules. Somebody needs to send it back. Great stuff as always, my man. What else you got? What we got you on here?
I don't know, man. That whole thing could be like realms too, like different, like maybe we jump to different dimensions. I don't know if you always stay here, but, you know, the Hindus believe that you do reincarnation. You know, it could be any kind of animal, tree, or rock, or whatever, you know. So that's why they try to be kind to everything, you know. Because, you know, that energy, it doesn't die, it just transforms, or, you know, it lives on. But with our culture, like I said, you know, they just say that you don't die, you just change the world. So who knows? Maybe you just end up somewhere else. Or maybe just keep back.
Yeah, right on. I'm with you, man. It's great thinking and talking about the great mysteries of life because, well, what the hell else is there to talk about, right?
Right, man. It's a good place to be.
Amen to that. Always great stuff, Kelly. You're the best. I think we got Daryl. If Daryl is out there, Daryl's been in the caller queue. I don't know if Daryl wants to be on the show or not. So Daryl, if you're listening, just type in the chat. We'll put you on the show. We're taking your phone calls, guys. 702-957-1037. Kelly, you're welcome to stay as long as you like and keep talking about this stuff. You tell me, brother.
Well, I'll kick around for a while.
Okay, cool. So we're taking your phone calls. We're here with Kelly in Colorado. I'm Michael Strange, and we're talking about ghosts tonight. Tomorrow is October 1st, and which of course is a one of those situations where it's difficult for Las Vegas because it's the October 1 is the anniversary, if you call it that, for the Vegas shooting, actually. So October 1's one of those tough subjects around here in Vegas, but it is, again, beginning that month of October that leads to Halloween, and that, again, the veil thinning and all the rest of that stuff. So may as well jump the gun and be a day early and talk about all the rest of this. So we got Jennifer calling. We'll go to Jennifer in just a sec. We're here with Kelly. Like I said, Daryl, let me know if you want to be on the show, and we'll put you on the show as well. But let's go to Jennifer in just a sec. Let's make sure this processes and gets through, and we'll put her on the show. Taking your calls, guys, 702-957-1037, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link, and we'll put you on. Easy as that. Let's see. It still says processing audio. What's going on? I hope the phones didn't take a crap. Let's see. It should be longer. There we go. All right. So let's go to Jennifer in Missouri. Welcome to the show. You're here with Mike and Kelly. How are you, my friend?
Good. How you doing?
Doing okay. Go right ahead. What are your thoughts on ghosts and stuff? Is this stuff real? And if so, what is it?
I think people do have. It's because people have seen them, and then people hear about other people's stories. You know, and they believe the people who are telling them the stories because they know them. And so I think that that's where it all comes from. You know, that people are having these experiences and people see them themselves, and then they have people around them, family or friends, who have had experience that tell them this. So they believe that it's true, and they know that it's true because they have experiences with it. As far as like what it is, I think it's, I don't know what it is, but I've had a ton of paranormal experiences.
So has it been going on since you were young, or is it maybe something recent, or you tell me?
For like as long as I can remember.
Okay,
like
so
forever.
It is. Okay,
like
so it is.
Since I was like a little kid, and then all the time, like all my life, I've had like all kinds of paranormal experiences. I'm sure a lot of people have, and they just don't get a place that they don't talk about it because they don't, they only talk about with like people they know or like in situations like this. I think.
Yeah.
But I've had like a ton of them.
Either people you know really well or people you don't know at all. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, exactly. Because at least, like, when you don't know them at all, you're just like, whatever,
Yeah,
so,
who cares?
But yeah, I mean, I'm going to tell a couple of them. You want to just hear a couple of ghost stories?
Yeah, go right for it. That's why we're doing this. Love to hear them.
Okay. Yeah, so when I was a little kid, we moved I lived in Texas, and we moved from there to a place called Garland, Arkansas, which is on the Texarkana, Arkansas, and like Texas, Arkansas, and I think, what's the other? And Louisiana border. So Garland is like a town of like a few hundred people. It's this tiny little town. So we moved down there, and the neighbors, they're moving stuff into the house from the U-Haul, and the neighbors come up, and they want to hang chicken feet on the door. And my parents are like, what are you talking about? Like, why do you want to hang chicken feet on the door? And they said, this house was a funeral home, and people were doing all kinds of rituals and stuff in this house, and it's got like stuff going on. And so they were like, oh, that's weird. Anyway, moving along. So my dad had a bait shop where he would have like minnows, and he would make bait for people who fished in that area, and he'd make it out of the garage. Well, there was a big barn, and they had to clean it out because it was infested with snakes. So they had these guys come out, and they got all the snakes out, like snake wranglers, and they got them all out, and they cleared out the shed. In the very back of that barn, there was a door that was behind like some shelving and stuff. They pry it open, and inside is like all this ritual stuff, like all over the floor, all over the walls, like candles and the whole thing. Okay, so moving along, he puts his minnows in those tanks. He has these big horse trough tanks and pumps and stuff. The minnows died like all the time. So it was like something going on. He tried moving them from there to here, around the area. Anyway, he knew what he was doing, but all these minnows died. When they were cleaning out the house, they took all this stuff out of the house and they set it on fire in a giant like bonfire to get rid of it, because there was just like a whole bunch of stuff in the house. And in the closet of the bed, one of the rooms, in the very back, they found this book. And my mom told me that they got that book out and they tried to it was all weird. It was a weird book with like all kinds of I'm assuming like voodoo or something. Anyway, they take that book and they throw it into that bonfire, and they swore like it didn't burn. So they like buried it up underneath the ashes and stuff like that, and they just left it there. And assuming it did burn, but they claim that it didn't burn, that they were like, it won't catch on fire well. So they just shoved it up underneath the ashes and left it there. And then I was like this little kid. We're talking like 4 or something like that. But I remember this one thing. Anyway, so like I was sitting on the couch, and like both my parents were there, and they were watching like Star Trek or something. And I look up, and I see this person standing in the doorway of the living room. And they were like this white, grayish color, and like they'd been underwater for a long time or something. And they were standing just in that door. And I got up and was like all freaked out. And they were just like doing their thing and didn't even seem to notice me like get up or anything. And I got up and I got on the floor. And I remember like I went through the door on the other side to the other side, like got away from it because it was just standing there. when I went to the other room, I was like looking at the door that entered that same hallway, and the thing like came around that corner, like didn't come around the corner, but it like looked around that corner, and I screamed. Like I just terrified. We moved out of that house. My mom tells me, because it was a funeral home and all that history and everything. I guess it was really weird. Besides just stuff I experienced, because I was talking in the middle of the night to somebody. Like she said that she would hear me up talking, and she'd come see, and I'd be in the middle of I'd be on my bed, sitting up in my bed, just talking to somebody in the room, like in the dark room.
Oh my
Because I
goodness.
was asleep, or supposed to be asleep.
Whoa.
And she said that it went on, and she'd get on to me for it and tell me to lay back down. But she said she asked me, who are you talking to? And I'd say, that little boy over there, or something like that. And we ended up moving to another house back in Texas. At this house, this was in Chillicothe, Texas. And in this instance, let me look at okay. So I'm looking at my watch. I don't want to go into too long with it.
You're fine. You're fine. There's no sweat. No sweat. Go
I
right
was
ahead.
laying in my this house. We moved back into that. We moved into this house. Before that, I remember no kind. I was too little probably to remember anything before that. But then into this house, we're living there for a while, and it had this big pecan field, and it was like out in the country, and it was like this little house. And I was laying in my bed. And the memory that I have of it, basically, this went on for like months. I would wake up from sleeping, and I would look over at my window, and there'd be this like shadowy like shape at the window. And I would see it like with my eyes. And the first couple of times this happened, I would scream, and my mom would come in there, and she would say, you were having a bad dream. You were just asleep. So lay back down, it's not a big deal. And I'd be like, no, it was there was somebody in the window, and she was like, oh, you're having a bad dream. So eventually the screaming thing, like I'd still wake her up and everything, but I would just know that she's not going to believe what I'm saying. But I would see like this, it's like a shadow, like almost cloaked looking the windows were low to the ground. So they couldn't have been very tall. But I would see it, like I could see its eyes almost, and it was like this, like a dark figure. Now at this point, I'm like 5 or 6 years old or something, and it would be like sometimes it would have its hand up, kind of like a hand up, so it had like a hand. Anyway, so that was something that would happen pretty often, and then okay, so it's really bizarre because this stuff just went on and on at my papa's house. Then I came down with this childhood sickness thing where they misdiagnosed me a couple of times. They thought I had bronchitis. They thought I had allergies, like this whole thing. Anyway, so at this point, I had been through like all these different doctors and everything. So I was having this like some kind of respiratory distress problem. So they had anyway, it doesn't matter. At my papa's house, I remember on this incident, he had lived in this old house, and I learned later on, where there had been a doctor, and he had had a bad relationship with his wife, but they couldn't divorce. And so he had made a fireman's pole that went from the upstairs top floor down to the basement just to avoid his wife. Really weird, quirky house type thing. Anyway, at this house, I would wake up, sick. Like I'd be like a kid wakes up sick, and I'd call out for my mom. I'd be like, Mom, this and that. And I'd look at the door, and the light from the hallway, I would see a woman standing there. And I knew it wasn't my mom because my mom didn't look like this lady. And she would be standing in that door, and I just see a silhouette of what I could tell was a woman because she had a bob haircut or something. And she'd come into the room, and I'd be freaking out. But it's she would come into the room like I called for her or something. And she'd come right up to me. And then I would see that same figure in the kitchen, in the pantry. If I got up to get water or something, I'd be terrified, but I'd come in there, and there'd be she'd be in the pantry, messing with the food in the pantry. And I was terrified, And then that's just some stuff. I mean, there's a ton. I've had a ton of stuff. So yeah, I believe in ghosts. And I mean, I woke up at, it just goes on and on. I've had tons.
So it seems
paranormal experiences.
So
with,
it seems in
you
your
know.
case then that you've had you are one of those predisposed, and so has it ever gone away? Actually, as you got older, did it at least maybe slow down, or is it still you're still seeing stuff all the time?
No, it's not like it's all the time. I mean, I'm telling this stuff in like a, it's a tight context of space. So I'm telling
Gotcha.
you this in a condensed way.
Over many years. I got you.
So it's like spaced out. Yeah. I probably have like I don't know, like probably had like 15, 20 experiences,
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
So quite a few. And usually like nothing will happen. Like I had like this one, the most recent thing that was kind of a big deal. I fainted. Like I saw like this ice jumped out of this glass in front of us at this table at this old house we lived in. And the glass, like in front of me, the ice popped out of the glass. And it sounds really strange, but it just popped out of the glass onto the table. And I remember that. And then I saw this like black cloud thing, like move up the wall. And I fainted. And I woke up on the couch. And like from that point on, because I went through a spell there where I was really interested in all this stuff too. When I got older, I was like really interested in it when I was in my early, like my mid-teens and up into my early 20s. I'm in my early 30s now, but I was like really fixated on it. And so I did a lot of stuff like involving this stuff and trying to understand what was going on and trying to, just doing all kinds of weird stuff. So this had kind of come before that event with that fainting thing. That was a big deal. When that happened, I was like, I'm done. Like, I am done. Like, I want nothing to do with any of this. Like, I had been touched on the face and like all kinds of stuff had happened before that. But I was like, I am so done with this. I want nothing to do with it. And I got rid of like all the stuff I've been doing. And like, I tried to like make it stop. I moved from that house. And like, I wouldn't, if I even like thought about stuff or like watch anything on TV or anything like that, I'll get that feeling like something's fixing to happen or something like that. Like I can tell, you can almost like tell like they're coming around or something, or there's like something coming around for it. And usually if it feels like that, like I don't feel like that right now because I'm just like, don't want anything to do with it. Like I don't want anything to do with it right now, except for there's no reason to have anything to do with it. Like for me, like right now.
Well, it creeped you
like,
out. It scared the hell out of me.
So yeah, I don't know.
So you said you got rid of the stuff you were doing. Were you doing like Ouija boards or ritual stuff, anything like that? Or do you think it was just more like research and books?
Everything.
Okay, you were doing everything.
Everything.
Okay, you were into all that. Okay.
Everything.
Okay.
I do. Like I was doing absolutely anything and everything.
Okay.
I did the Ouija board thing. We photographed blue orbs, and that whole thing. There was like blue orbs. A lamp got like pulled out of the wall. Like the plug of the lamp got yanked out of the wall after like a provocation. There were poltergeists. A door on the upstairs, we heard like slam, slam. And we got up and went up to the staircase. And the upstairs, at the very top of the stairs, the bedroom door, something was opening and shutting it rapidly. Like just rapidly on its own. It was opening and shutting on its own. And that house fell apart. Like the furnace stopped working, the water main underneath the driveway busted, the ceiling fell in the laundry room, like all kinds of stuff just like was happening. Like
I would get out of there as well. Yeah, that's nuts. I haven't seen anything like that at all. But geez,
that was a separate house. Yeah, that was like totally a separate house. Like that was before like. Yeah, so that was before that thing with the painting. That was a whole different house, like 3 or 4 houses later. But I had bought that house that we did all the Ouija board stuff in and the seances. And it would come, we lived there, and it would come and go. Like we'd have people over, and we'd do like a seance, or we'd do like the Ouija board, or we'd take the Ouija board out to like certain locations. Went through 3 different Ouija boards because they were like these bad experiences, and we were like, let's get rid of it, we'll bury it or something. So we went through all this different stuff. We got EVPs, like several of them. And there was like, it was constant. Like there's just like constant. Like if I were to, like here at this house, this is what you call a stigmatized property. the back of the house, I had heard that there had been these two boys that had accidentally had a drowning in the creek down the hill behind this house. And it's tragic. It's very terrible. And when I heard about that, not long after I started renting this property, I was like, oh, man, that's horrible. And then when we moved in, we were coming home from the store, and we saw these teenagers barefoot and in their bathing suits, and they were up on the side of the road. Now, this house is in the middle of nowhere, like literally 12 miles from the nearest store that I'm living in right now. And it's behind a cattle gate on 364 acres of land in the middle of the Ozarks. So it's very, very rural. And there are these teenagers standing on the road, just out in the middle of nowhere here, you know. And there was the neighbors who were about a mile away were there in their golf carts. And these kids were like panicking. They were like, call the police, you know, call for help, call for help. And we're like, what's going on? And we got the story around eventually. What had happened was that this couple had been floating down the creek, hit that bridge, and there was a 70-year-old woman who flipped over and she tragically passed away and drowned in the stream as well. So down the hill here, there's a bridge, and 3 people in the last 4 years have sadly passed on at that bridge.
Wow. Like that bridge itself is maybe a conduit, maybe a portal, maybe something. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
First, yeah. Whoa. Crazy stuff. Okay, so this is so clearly with all these experiences, I think asking you whether ghosts are real is a moot point. You already said yes. I'm going to say that absolutely yes. So have you been able to turn this off?
I have no idea what they are, though.
Okay.
I have no idea what they are or like what
That's
the
fair.
deal is. If there's like you know.
Yeah, that's fair.
I have no idea. Just that there's a lot of. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Just a quick question for you. So, were you able to actually, at some point, like you said, you're done with this, done, I'm out of here, done, stop doing all this stuff? Were you able to turn it off, or do you still see things from time to time?
If I relax about this stuff, if I like, kind of just like I don't know how to explain it. If I'm just like, I don't know the turning it off is like I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure. I think if I were to like, I don't know. No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know for sure if it's turning it off or turning it on. It was just like, I like stuff has happened and I'll just completely ignore it. Like, no, like just completely ignore it, you know, just not think about it. Cause it's like, if I think about it or if I pay attention to it, more happens, like something else will happen. But if I kind of ignore it, like say if like I hear something or I think I hear or see something or anything like that, so I'm just like, nope, like nothing at all, just blah. If I do that, then it seems like, and just kind of give it nothing, but I'll still have occasions in the middle of the night where it's like, oh shoot, you know, there's like something here. It's that kind of feeling, like I wake up, it's dark, you know, and it'll just be like this feeling. It's not all the time, but it'll be just randomly, just randomly, nothing really particularly going on, but I'll just be like, oh, it's here. Like there's a thing here, you know, like a feeling like there's something in the room. And and sometimes it's very like, almost like it's telepathic, something like that. Like it's very like focused, like it'll try to like really focus in, you know, to make you notice it. And it'll be really hard to go back to sleep. It's not like paralysis though. Like people have that, you know, people have like, I'm not paralyzed at all. Like I wake up and I'm like, I'll get up, I'll go get like, you know, I'll just start the day or something like that. Like I'll have to get up to make it stop, like the feeling of it.
Right. Kind of shake the dread or whatever's going on there. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Like weird how it just keeps coming. Like you're not asking for it. Just you see things and yeah. I don't know. Like I said, your stories there are not uncommon even. Like there's a lot of people that have these recurring instances with whatever it is. I don't like, who knows what it is? Like you said, how do you quantify ghosts? It's like you see things, but what does that even mean? You know, like Dwayne said earlier, it's like maybe a residual reflection from a different dimension, like some sort of, you know, like a crossover sort of situation that they don't know the difference somehow. So who knows? Crazy stuff. We got to wrap this up. So final thoughts, Jennifer. Fantastic stuff as always from you.
I don't know, just like I think I love hearing people's ghost stories, and like their experiences, and then just, you know, seeing their take on stuff. And then, yeah, I love hearing people's ghost stories.
That's why we do this. We got October coming. We're going to do this 3 more times at least. So we'll hopefully draw out some more ghost stories. And if you got more, of course, as you know, you're always welcome back.
Cool. Okay, talk to you later.
Thanks a lot,
You guys have a
Jennifer.
good night.
Thanks a lot, you too. Appreciate it. Great stuff. Great stories as always. Look, again, 100%. This is why I keep saying this. This is why we're always, again, why we've always done an open line. Because, right, even back when nobody was listening, nobody would call. We just filled the time with some ghost stories we were reading. But look, we get people that experience these things now, and have stories to tell. It's amazing. So great stuff. Thank you for all the amazing calls tonight. Fantastic stuff, Jennifer. Let's go to Daryl. Actually, Kelly, real quick, you want to address any of that stuff? I know there's a lot there, but before we go to Daryl, holy smokes, man!
I would say that, you know, people that, because sometimes, you know, for me anyway, you know, the tendency to, you know, like I said, you put yourself out there, you know, you stretch your feelings out, whatever, you know, vibration, you know, whatever, you know what I mean? That feeling for me, when I do that, then you're able to, you know, I guess you could say you could see ghosts, you know, have the ability more, you know, because it's not really turning it off or on. It's just if you practice more, then of course you're gonna. Because sometimes, you know, even like when people that do, like, you know, like Jennifer was saying, you know, I don't know, sometimes you start it, you know, when you're younger, messing with boards and stuff, but sometimes, you know, what people are doing, you know, sometimes with that, when they're really working with those, you gotta kind of know what you're doing, man, because if you're conjuring of something that's, you know, that's, you know what I mean, that you can't control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You better know what you're doing.
And that's
you know, because they say, you know, and like I said, in our cultures, that, you know, they could cling to you, man. They can.
I was going to say that. Yep.
And cling to you, that it doesn't matter where you move, it'll always be there. You know, it might not just, it might, you know, might not be violent, but who knows? You know what I mean? You never know where you're gonna be. You know, whatever's going to come out on the other side, you can't control that.
Yeah, that's called the hitchhiker effect, right? Where if you maybe contact something and it becomes infatuated with you, it now is chasing you, following you, and it doesn't matter if you move or any of those other things. I think that's the term, the hitchhiker effect. Crazy stuff. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, you know, I don't particularly believe these things, but I also don't want to mess with them either because I don't understand it. So I'm not. You won't find me flipping around a Ouija board anytime soon. Let's just put it there. Jeez. Go ahead.
You know, I'm not saying that Jennifer didn't know what she's doing or her friends or anything. I'm not saying that or anything, but I'm just saying people, you know, if they, you know, want to try to do that, you know, you got to understand what you're doing, you know what I mean? Because, again, you don't know what's, you know, just be careful.
Be careful. Amen. Let's, as always, be careful. You never know what's out there. Let's go to Daryl. Daryl in New York. Like I said, Kelly, you can dip anytime you want. You're welcome to stay as long as you want.
I kind of shake the dread.
Go ahead and let's try and So the bad thing about this Discord is because you listen to the stream on a delay. That's what happens, right? When you same device, it's hard to kind of shut it off. You there, Daryl? Okay, she caught it. She muted it. So whenever Daryl's ready, Daryl in New York. But if you're listening on the same device, it takes like a minute delay and something like that. What's up, Daryl? What's up, Daryl?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, can you mute the stream?
Sorry. I got to turn off one more window. Hold on.
That's okay. Yep. See, exactly. So it's okay. No sweat. But it happens, and it's part of you listen on one device. That's what we get. But okay, we're gonna go to Daryl in New York. We have time, guys. If you want to be part of the show, like I said, nobody tells us when to stop. We go a little bit long, and it's okay. Like I said, as long as you guys are interested, I don't mind going long. It's just like I don't want to labor through a third hour just to meet a time frame. You know, if nobody's calling. So we got tons of great people interested and tons of great takes. So I'm not tripping. We can go long. Nobody tells us when to stop. We're grown ass people. Daryl, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Hi, Mike. Hi, everybody. That's a great show. Great stories.
Thank you.
Really. Well, I have two things. I wanted to tell a ghost story that I experienced when I was 17 years old.
Sure.
And I also have, I have two proof of ghosts videos I posted to the guest experience, I think, part of your Discord. So I'll tell that story afterwards. But my ghost story is when I was 17, I was hired to play in a show called Godspell in a summer theater in Maine, Casco, Maine, like right next door probably to where Stephen King lives. Very Stephen King-like Maine little town with no town. You know, one street for the main street, and it was like a mile away. And it was on a lake. And I was living in top of this theater. It was like 100-year-old theater with the daughter of the owner. And we had this room above the theater. It was already creepy, like in the attic of the theater. And there was nobody but us in that theater, the whole theater, and just us in that room at the top of this theater. And it was at night, and we were already asleep, or just going to sleep, and we heard something downstairs. Now, nobody should be there, you know? And we hear, like, these footsteps coming up the stairs. And she jumped into bed with me. We were so scared. And the footsteps came up, you know, slowly. We're like, this is not possible. It can't be somebody. You know, there's nobody supposed to be here. And it came to this. I can't remember what happened. When it got to our room, we screamed so loud. We were screaming like bloody, bloody murder. I don't even know if anybody. I mean, we probably woke up the whole town. We were screaming so loud. But whatever it was, ran. And this was kind of like on a lake. And if there was like a what do you call it? Like a high tide, we'd get sand on the floor around the theater. It looked like snow fell. You know what I'm saying? So we saw that morning there were footsteps running from the theater out. You know, nothing going in, just coming out, running away. And it wasn't us. It was the only footsteps you could see coming out of the theater. And that's my ghost story. Kind of cool, right?
Yeah. Well, so you never actually saw anything. You heard it. Interesting.
We heard it.
Like it was almost like it was trying to terrify you. Like it was part of the game, right? Like it was wanted. Yeah.
I think we scared it though. I think we scared it more than it scared us.
Yeah. Hopefully, if you scream loud enough, they run away from you. Yeah, that's wild. So clearly, you think ghosts are real, then, right?
I don't know. I didn't grow up with any religion really necessarily, but you know, when you have experiences like that, what are you supposed to think? You know, you can't deny them. And then I wanted to mention, I think I mentioned it on your show already, that I had videotaped. I was talking to a friend of mine on Skype, and he went to get a beer. I said, do you mind if I videotape your empty room? He had just lost his wife 2 weeks prior. And I wasn't doing it for that reason. I was doing it because I saw stuff in his room that was like moving, like some kind of plasma or something. Like, I don't know what I saw, but I saw motion. Can't describe what I saw, but I said, let me use my camera. I'm going to film in the negative. And I'm filming this, and I'm seeing through the camera lens all of these cats. I think you remember I called this in once, and I looked at the film thinking, oh my God, he's got so many cats. Like, how many cats does this guy have? And when he came back from his beer run, I asked him, I said, how many cats do you have living with you? He goes, Dad, I don't have any cats. I have a dog. My dog was with me while I was getting my beer, but I don't have any cats. I'm saying, oh my God, look at this. And when I showed him this video, he flipped out. Now I shortened it and I sped it up. So, you know, you'll see the cat jumping right away. It's in the negative. So you'll see this white cat jumping across the bed. And I also filmed the negative. So then you'll see the white cat turning black. You know, it'll be the opposite of what I filmed with the negative camera. So you'll see both sides of this thing. And unless he lied to me, I have to really, this is my proof. I can't even imagine how else this could have happened. You know, and there's more than one cat in the film. You'll see other things, you know, in the video. There's like a dog, I think. There's also kittens. You have to look carefully. I'm not going to tell you right now, I have no talent as a videographer, so the camera shakes. It's like not focused that well. I'm like moving around a lot, but you'll definitely see the first. As soon as you turn it on, you'll see the cat jump. So that to me is like some sort of proof of something beyond, beyond what our reality is. Is it another dimension? Is it our animals? Somebody said that they thought that it was her animals comforting her. And I even saw some kind of video. I just saw her above the bed with her like blonde bobbed haircut. And sure enough, when I looked to see her on Facebook among his friends list, she had a blonde bobbed haircut. I didn't even know that, but she did in the video. I saw her above the bed. I don't know if you'll be able to see her in this. The original video is like 9 minutes long. It's way too long to be, bothered with. So I shortened it to like 33 seconds, actually. And anybody wants to see it, you could see it in the personal experience category in Troubled Minds, list of chat rooms.
Yeah, I've actually seen that video when you called in the first time talking about that. You put the video in, and I looked at it, and it's unmistakably a cat jumping around in the bed. And if the individual in question said he didn't have a cat at all, well, there you go. No. It's there's no mistaking it. Literally, it could be nothing else. It's a cat and only a cat. It's not like a cat-ish thing. It's definitely a cat. There's a cat there in the video, and like I said, you had to kind of reverse negative it to even get the image, right? Like, was it
right?
Yeah, like you couldn't see it with the naked eye, right?
No doubt, and you couldn't really see this with your naked eye, but certainly something was moving there. It does some kind of motion, like a fuzzy kind of like there was something moving there, like mold or something. Something mold like. I would say mold moves, and mold does weird stuff. I don't know about mold. If you mix Morgellons and mold, it'll create anything in your mind, whatever your imagination bears. People have told mold Morgellon stories that are just like outer space, something from outer space. And no wonder everyone thinks they're crazy, because what they're seeing and witnessing is really inexplicable. Something very strange about the Morgellons infection that gives you a lot of paranormal kind of visions that I believe them all, because I've seen amazing things in a Morgellons, induced vision.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. I got to say this, Carol Ann, stay away from the light. Remember that movie? Poltergeist. Somebody mentioned in the chat there. All right, let's wrap this up. I don't know if Jay's going to pop in for the outro, but let's final thoughts on this, Daryl. Do you think that so you haven't had many paranormal experiences yourself, other than what you've described here? Do you think that ghosts are real? And if not, what do you think they are? Why do people see why do some people see them and why do other people not? Things like this.
I think as long as there's somebody to remember you, I think you're going to see ghosts, and ghosts will exist. And as long as you have somebody to haunt, I think I'm going to come back if I can. I'm going to haunt all of you.
Damn it, Daryl! At least make it cool. Don't scare. Don't make me like piss myself.
I won't scare you, but you have to invite somebody with a ghost box and try to contact me, and you could do it immediately after my death. It's not inappropriate. I'm just saying. You don't have to respect the dead in my condition. In my case,
gotcha.
I'd be very missing you, so I'm sure I'd come back and want you.
Okay, gotcha. I appreciate that, and yeah, I will make sure I am irreverent as possible to the Daryl spirit.
Okay. No problem. Don't anyone say anything otherwise.
All right, perfect. Kelly, anything for Daryl? Well, we got you on here. We got you both on.
He's still there?
He's still there, yeah. He's still in the chat.
No, I don't really have anything to Daryl, but I just wanted to add too, though, is I don't know, what are we seeing? Is it like sometimes when I think about that, I listen to your story too, Daryl, and then just like rewinding the one I was talking about with the old man. It was like, is it almost like it was almost like a replay of him doing it. I just caught maybe a glimpse of it or something, like it was just time going over because it was, like I said, I lived in Alaska, and Alaska has a lot of earthquakes,
right?
Like, a lot of energy and shit up there.
Oh, yeah.
It was like he didn't, when I seen them, he wasn't there like scaring me or looking at me. What it looked like is he was just looking at himself in the mirror, So it wasn't like So it was like almost like I said, it was like almost like catching a glimpse of a rewind of a reel of of a movie or something,
An impression.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what we're seeing. Like some people would call it a glitch in the matrix or whatever, but but I don't know, man. But when you can't deny when people say they seen loved ones or whatever, because I don't know what I see, man. And that, if that's a ghost, then that's. I also seen a little girl too, but again that was in Alaska, and that was kind of weird. But I mean, I could see her little dress and everything, little frills. She had little ponytails in her hair. It was a trip, and it was like it was like a rewind. She, the way she was dressed was something like out of when I don't know, years past. Like I would say maybe, I don't know, 20s or 30s, how you would dress a little girl.
Well, like Night Stalker mentioned like that, like it's a remain of something, like an energy form that's just an impression. Maybe it's not really a ghost, but they left such an impression on when they were living that it's like the Roadrunner. When he runs away, you still see him, beep, beep, when he's gone, but then you see the shape of the Roadrunner in the Bugs Bunny cartoons. That kind of energy,
Yeah, I could see that. But another thing too is what people say that you've been, when someone, I don't know if anybody else, have you ever there's times where I've been, different places. It doesn't matter where, but there's times where if somebody's rubbed against you or touched, just kind of lightly touched you, not on again, or flipped your collar or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of weird, man. Because there's no, I don't know. I can't say that you couldn't feel that as well, but that's kind of weird when you're able to feel something like that too, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. As you guys know, we'll continue as we're kicking in October here, ringing it in a day early. But probably, I figure if we keep getting ghost stories and great people with great takes on this, we'll maybe do one ghost show a week leading up to Halloween. Just what day is Halloween actually? Are we going to be actually broadcasting on Halloween? Let's find out. That would be sweet. The 31st is actually on a Sunday. Interesting. Interesting. Well, it's a day we could do. It's a day we totally could do. Okay, so all right. So as you guys know, so if you don't blow all your ghost stories, we got a whole month to maybe get this stuff out there. So don't worry, we got time for you. And let's go to Jay. Let's wrap this up. Great stuff. Thanks, Kelly, for hanging out with us. Thanks, Daryl, for sharing your stories here. And let's go to Jay. Jay for the outro. But of course, we're not going to do the outro first. The J-tro. We're going to do Jay's thoughts on this. Of course, he's got to catch up to the show. As he kind of has his kids to take care of and put to bed, and then he listens on super speed, and then he shows up for the J-tro and final thoughts for the night. So whenever you're ready, my friend, welcome to the show. You're on Troubled Minds with Daryl and with Kelly, and of course myself, Michael Strange. The J-tro. Carol Ann, stay away from the light. I was trying to find the sound clip to play it, but it's all 2.5 minute clips and stuff. What's up, Jay? How are you, man?
Good. Can I have a quick question for Kelly?
Sure, I'm sure. He's sure listening.
When you saw the little girl, where was she? What were you doing? Were you on the road? Were you driving? Or what?
This was when I first went up to Alaska. I was staying with my brother, him and his family, up in Alaska. My room was above. There was a room that was kind of built above the garage. Right, so from there, from the living room, you would if kind of those older style houses that it's either you go upstairs or downstairs. Anyway, they had a garage off to the right hand side of the house, and then they had built a room that was above that. And the little girl, anyway, to go up there, there's 2 little steps, and she was standing right there on the steps. And it was weird because when I first got there, I really wasn't doing shit, so I was cleaning my brother, cleaning up the house, I was doing dishes. You know, it was like it wasn't that night or anything. It was daytime. You know, I'm looking at the back, you know, out the window, looking at the backyard, and you know, I was done, and I went to go grab something that was on the table, off to my right hand, you know, right on the table to my right side. When I flipped around, you know, you kind of looking towards, you know, kind of into the living room area, but right there's the stairs, and there she was sitting, or she wasn't sitting, she was standing. She was just standing there. I don't really remember she was looking at me, or looking like just straight towards the living room. Again, it was like I said too. It's not like they're scaring you or like trying to jump out. It was just like I said. It was kind of almost like a glimpse of time.
That's crazy, dude. I the reason why I asked is because I had a really similar. I saw a little girl and it really kind of freaked me out. I was driving through that part of Ohio that I was telling you about the last time we were talking about spooky things and everything else like that. And I was on the highway and I like slammed on the brakes in the car because there was a little girl standing on the side of the road. And when I stopped, she went away. And I talked to my dad about it, and we were talking about the Native American Indian thing and all that stuff. And he said, you just got to distinguish the difference between the two on whether it's there or not. And then that was kind of the end of the conversation forever with me and him about the ghosts. That brought me to memory. When you said that, it just brought up a memory really quick, and I wanted to.
I just go up to Ohio still a lot.
Yeah, I do. My cousins live there, and she's in a little bit of trouble with things and stuff like that. So I go up there probably every 2 or 3 months to help her work out her house and stuff like that. She's got a severely autistic boy and whatever. Go ahead.
I didn't want to cut you off, but I was going to say, do you know where that what do they call it, the Serpent Mound that's over there?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Can you go there and take pictures?
You can walk on it with your own 2 feet, buddy. Can I go there the next time I go there?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll take my kids there and run them around and do like the pictures I did when we were traveling out there last time.
Yeah, can you kind of like aim towards too, like a part of the mound and into the trees? I want to see that.
All right. There's one that in the hometown that I grew up in, we used to ride our bikes and play frisbee in it. The Octagon Mound that's right in the middle of Newark, Ohio. But that was our stomping grounds when we were kids. It's huge. I can't remember. It's probably like, I don't know, 10, 15 acres in the middle of the town. Nothing but trees and woods and an ancient Indian mound. But it was a great place to go play when you were kids because no traffic or nothing like that. You used to go stomp around on the mounds and pick up acorns and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Wicked cool place. I definitely will do it for you.
Well, thanks, Jay. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. But what a way to start Halloween. Holy smokes.
Well, we're early.
I came into Tam-Bam and I was getting ready to I don't even have enough time to even think about double timing it up today. And then Tam started going off and I was like, holy crap, it's Halloween.
It's Halloween.
It's October, yeah. October 1st.
I'll break it down for you, Jay. That just the conversation is, do you think ghosts are real? And if so, what do you think they are?
Ghosts are real, in my opinion, because, I don't know if it's, someone with unfinished business or, just their spirit is supposed to be here because they're in tune with nature, like, kind of like the Native American Indians are, they're one with the earth, I couldn't tell you, exactly what they are. I mean, if I could do that, I should be writing a book, making millions of dollars, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
But I just, today was crazy because the kids got the sniffles and everything because the temperature changed. So, Dad, please lay with me. So I dozed off. And then I woke up in a panic scare. And that happens here a lot. It's a funeral home. Going back to Jennifer being like, thanks, honey, for creeping me out. I live in a funeral home.
We know how to do it. Just hang chicken feet at the door. hang chicken feet are good to go.
I got them all. I've got this really huge, elaborate, there's a leaded glass arch with 2 side lights and a giant front door for the funeral home and stuff like that. And there's a little Buddha thing up there, and then there's crucifix up there, and there's a little Jewish scroll thing up there. There's a little medicine bag with the crystals and stuff like that. And the whole top of that thing is lined with across the board. I don't care what religion you are, and if I don't know about it, I'll get one up there as soon as I find out about it. But I try to cover all the bases.
Nice.
So I jump,
as well you should, I think.
Jumped out of bed, and then I came down and I turned this on, and you guys are talking about this, and it just made me really, the little girl's in there talking to her doggies, She used to call them her friends, and then we started asking her a question about it, and now she goes, "Oh, I'm just talking to my stuffed animal and my doggies." It's like, okay, honey, leave it alone.
It changed.
Well, because we were asking her about it. It's like, who are you talking to? And it's just, I don't know. I live in a funeral home, so when you guys start telling the ghost stories and stuff like that, talk about it. It gives me the little willies.
Yeah. Jennifer says the chicken feet didn't work, so so you can take that off the list, I guess.
Okay, cool. That's kind of nasty. I don't want chicken feet hanging up there. But one other thing that kind of brought me to it as we were going with at least the third hour of things that we're coming up to is we had a dog go crazy one time here, and it was running around the house, barking at nothing and smashing its head off of, the corners of the wall and the door casings and everything else like that, to the point that it bloodied itself. I was like, oh my God, this dog has gone crazy. What am I going to do? And it's the middle of the night. We're running around, we're chasing the dog and calling the vet, and nobody knows anything. Call the dog warden and blah, blah, blah. So I get on the phone with the police department, and I was finally gotten to the point, a while into it. I call the police department up, and I says, is there any way I can get somebody to come over here and help me with my dog? And he says, well, put it down. And they're like, we can't do that. And I says, the dog is going to either hurt one of us really bad, or it's going to hurt itself really bad, and it's time. They're like, no. And I said, well, then can I do it? And he's like, I told you to go to fire. And he said, blah, blah, blah. So the wife busts out the video camera, and we start filming it, because I'm at the point where I know at some point someone's going to have to shoot this dog. And we're trying to corral the dog and get it into a crate and everything else like that. The dog gets out of my arms. I tackle the dog, and I'm holding the dog down on the ground, and I'm trying to, get it in a blanket and stuff like that so we can drag it and put it into the crate and try to deal with it some other way. The dog slips out of my arms, runs upstairs. The house is huge, and it's one of those old ones where you can go from a hallway into a bedroom, through a door in the bedroom into another bedroom. So you can go all the way in all the rooms without going into the hallway. Does a lap around through all the bedrooms, dives out the front window, does a lap around the porch, and jumps off onto the sidewalk. I was like, holy shit. And this is all going on. And I've only ever watched part of the video once, and there's like weird light stuff going on there. I know I have that. It's hiding underneath a pile of wood in my workshop, because it's terrifying. But I'm going to look that up, and I'll get that to
Gotcha. So you think there's something that happened that's it wasn't a regular occurrence, or there was some sort of something that dog tapped into, or
It was, yeah. We had an autopsy done on the dog and everything else like that, and the only thing they could come up with was liver toxology.
Crazy like that? That makes no sense.
Dude, it was nuts. It was terrifying. It was absolutely nuts. And then the wife goes, like, 2 months later, I want to get another dog. And I'm like, are you fucking crazy?
The liver, that whole bit, I had a dog actually pass away that not too long ago, unfortunately. And he was, not that one thing is another, but he was perfectly within his mind, like it was sad, like his body failed him, but he was all there, It was
it was a golden. The pure breeds have problems with that. A lot of the pure breeds have problems with that kind of thing, is what the vet was telling us.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, it sucks, but the thing is, though, is I told the vet about the story, and the vet's like, I don't know anything like that.
Yeah, that's brutal.
I got it on videotape if you want to watch it. And they're like, no, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. No thanks. Not trying to see that. Yeah, that's terrible. Okay, so ghosts are real. I don't know. Like I said, we're going to do some more ghost stories this coming month. I'll try and do. If you guys listen, if you guys have more stories you want to tell and they just keep coming, we'll just keep doing ghost stories, ghost shows, because it's October coming, right? Made the joke when we started earlier that it was premature, but we're a day early. That's okay. So we got 4 weeks. If the stories keep coming, we'll keep doing ghost shows. So I'll try and schedule one per week with kind of a different theme, just to give me something different to talk about. But basically, the premise is we want your stories. We want that stuff to come in because that's what it's all about. It's about getting together and talking. So there you go. Just so you know, man. But yeah, so ghosts are real, and you don't know what they are. Kind of like me, right? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a repeat quote for you too, because I don't know. I live in the funeral home. You guys are using the Ouija board at my house. I'm leaving. You know,
I'm with you. We're going to the liquor store. Let's go get a beer, Jay. You guys,
exactly.
You guys let us know what demon contacted you, because we're out. We're out of here.
Send me a text when you're done. Actually, I'll get a hotel for tonight, and I'll see you in the morning.
Exactly. Same here. Right on. So there we go. So we got more ghost stories coming this month, guys. So like I said, don't feel like, oh damn, I had more to say. No, we'll revisit. We will milk all the ghost stories out of you until you're like exhausted and like, okay, Mike, no more ghost stories. So it's okay. We got time. God willing, we got tomorrow and the next day and the week after and the week after. So what's your quote, Jay? Let's rip this down. Unless you got anything else for us tonight.
What a way to start October.
Yeah, amen. Amen to that.
It's October here.
Yeah, right. You know? Yeah. That's what James just said. He there. It's October there, so we're good. We're right on time.
So I don't know. Remember to say rabbit when you get up in the morning too. That's supposed to bring you good energy for the first of the month before your feet hit the floor.
Gotcha.
If you can do it.
Rabbit.
But
got it.
Yeah. Am I going? Is the music ready? I don't know.
Music's playing. You're up, sir. Go right ahead.
To the earth and those who lie beneath, the paths we are about to walk and those who tread them before us, to the homes we enter, to whom they once housed, to this city and its echoes, know we come in blessing and wish you only peace. Just don't drag those guys home with you when you're thinking about these things.
There you go. The hitchhiker effect. Fantastic. That's the prayer, the exit prayer, to make sure you leave whatever it is where you're at and don't bring it home with you. Great stuff. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that prayer. Keep that handy. We're going to use it a few times this month.
And brought it up to the top for you, Mike.
Amen, brother. Thank you very much. Kelly and Daryl, anything else real quick? We got about 30 seconds.
Oh, no, man. Great talk tonight, and welcome to October, just like everybody's saying, and enjoy yourselves. You guys have a good night.
Amen, brother. You too. Daryl.
I think you had the best joke of the night. I love that show.
Which one?
Richard Jack. Well, how does it go again? Just end it with the joke. It's
all right,
so
yeah,
funny.
let's end it with the joke. All right, it's in the NSFW. Here it is. This is the joke. If you carve a pumpkin in September, it's called premature ejac-o-lantern. I won't be taking questions. There it is. There's the joke. Let's end it with a good joke. Daryl, thanks again. You're the best. Thanks, Jay. Everybody else, appreciate you as well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for spreading the word. Like I said, this is not about me. This is about us. Like I always say, I'm me, you're you. Together we're us. Us is a very, very powerful thing. We're going to keep on doing this through October. If you guys get sick of ghost stories or run out of them or what have you, it's all good. We'll figure something out. We'll talk about movies or poltergeist or this, that, the other thing. There's lots of angles to tackle here, so we're going to keep doing it. I'll aim for one a week as we go through October and culminate in maybe a stream on Halloween. I don't know if the Fringe is doing anything, but if they aren't, we definitely will. So there you go. Thanks again, everybody. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. I'm honored you spend your time with us because, like I always say, you could be doing a million other things, and yet you're here. Thanks again. Be sure Be strong, be true. Thanks to Kelly, Daryl, and Jay for finishing up with us. Thanks everybody else for all the fantastic calls tonight. If I had too many to list, I'll leave somebody out. And as we finish, you know the drill. Thanks for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. And let's say we got the howls, the October Halloween howls. Ow! There it is. All right, we hang out afterward in the chat. If you guys haven't joined the Discord, come hop in here. I'm not going to speak for anybody and twist their arm to be there, but conversations go on for several hours after the shows usually. So we will see you there. Thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow. Actually, not tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon for the news show. Stay tuned for more Troubled Minds, 3 p.m. Pacific, for the news show. Catch you guys later. Have a great night.